And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, okay, yeah, I could be able to see comments on here, so that's good. We got three people tuning in. Welcome to the City of Impact, episode 8. This episode has been much anticipated. A lot of people have been looking forward to it. And I mean, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but I think it's safe to say that this book is going to be one that's not going to go well with some people, and others I think will enjoy very, very much. I'm a big fan of people getting the opportunity to voice their thoughts and opinions. Always been a fan of it. Um, never been the type to even when somebody has something to say about me. I've always been a big fan of giving them the opportunity to say it, not silencing them. And when CAW, we've seen this time and time again. I'm sure a lot of people who watching this, have experienced some form of discrepancy, some form of disrespect or manipulation and whatnot, and experienced a lot of hardship in some league, E-Fed promotion, call show that they were in. And today's guest on this episode is none other than someone that a lot of people in CAW are very familiar with, coming from the rocky roads of FAM through some of the other federations and leagues, and of course, up most recently, MPW, Main Pro Wrestling over there with Ray and them and Devin. He's had a rough road. He's been through a few territories, and he's coming here today because he's been wanting to get out some thoughts, air out some grievances, and he hasn't necessarily had the opportunity to properly do that. And any promotion that he's been in has not properly given him the opportunity to speak his mind. So today's guest, of course, is Nick KIKEN. Nick KIKEN is going to be coming in here momentarily to tell his story. We'll be talking to him not just about his story, but also about his career in CAW, as well as a little bit of his life, whatever he chooses to share with you, with all of us. And we will also be taking questions from everyone in the comment section. We want to thank our sponsor, of course, for them boys right there, Heel Turn, Real 88. Shout out to them. I had a fantastic time last night on their podcast on YouTube right now, and they get soon to be on Facebook. I'm not sure if they got it posted just yet, but it was a fantastic show. I had a blast being on there with Keith Ocean, and look forward to many more of those. But right here, right now, 3 minutes into the show, I want to take the opportunity to formally introduce our guest at this time. And our guest at this time, as I've said before, is Nick KIKEN. Nick, we'd like to welcome you to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
All right, buddy. How's everything going for you today?
Yeah, you know how it is. I mean, being the father of 4 and everything, and dealing with a lot of shit. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, we got Yang back in the fold. Ruby's been doing crazy stuff, and I mean, she's already like going through the independent circuit, wrestling at high school gyms and all that. And Fantasia and Tyson, I mean, they're doing the best they can. But Tyson, he's just like, I mean, he's coming off of like a good stint in MMA, like basically like cage fighter and all that.
Okay.
And I mean, Fantasia, she's trying to like hang in there, just like she's kind of stuck in the mix, but she's doing the best she can. And oh man, I could certainly say this last year with like everything that's happened to me, I mean, really, it's just been taking a toll, not just for my family, but for myself. And just coming on here today, I just feel it's time I let the people know. I'm not going to be silenced anymore. And the funny thing is, like, before I came on here, Kevin, basically, my wife, Layla, absolutely love her to death. I basically told her that when I came onto this, she was just like, just get out what you have to say. And if anybody just like goes and gives you hate on Twitter, social media, or whatever, just let everyone else handle it. Like, it's not your position. And basically, you talked to me before we started and basically said that if there is people that talk about this, whether in a negative way or in a positive way, then I did something right.
Right.
But of course, like, while I am nervous and scared about that outcome, basically at the end of the day, my eldest daughter Yang literally pulled me aside before we hopped on here and just literally looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Don't worry about a thing. Just do what you have to do." And of course, Kevin, you said that to me a while back before we set this whole thing up. And I quite honestly can say that Yang basically has a point. And I'm not going to let, of course, like certain people that I knew and called basically just like ripping into me, basically say, "Oh, I can't say this. Oh, I can't say that." Like, basically, fuck them at this point. I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say, however I want, and however I please. I don't give a shit if they got a problem with it.
Especially in this on this show, for sure, on this platform, for sure. Big fan of people being able to speak their minds. I mean, I know you got a pretty massive story to tell, so we're just gonna dive into it step by step.
Yeah, but here's a little side story that I want to get in. Basically, everything that I basically can tell you right now about like what happened and how it like took a toll on my family, I can certainly say before I came on here, the worst person in my family that everything that happened to me really affected was my second eldest daughter, Ruby. And Ruby's basically made quite the transformation. I mean, ever since like Tyson and Fantasia managed to escape the kidnapping from my former tag team partner, and I'll talk about him a little later on. But I just want to make it very clear, Ruby really was traumatized, emotional, just really bent out of sorts and just broken. And ever since she finally embraced the reason why her name is Ruby and like completely changed up her look to look like Ruby Rose from the Ruby series, I can definitely say it really made her break out of her shell. And before I came on here, I basically just like finally got the chance to let her emotions out. And she told me that she was scared. She thought I died and all that stuff. But now just like being with me and just being able to embrace me, she broke down into tears before I even came on here. Like almost like, God, like I would say like maybe an hour before I hopped on here. But Ruby basically, she just broke down crying, and I just consoled her and just said, "Let it all out, sweetheart. Let it all out. I'm sorry." And she kind of got me a little emotional a little bit, and I quite honestly can say I kind of still am a little emotional. I mean, I love my kids. I really do.
All right, before you soil your pants, and I need another guest on this show, City of Impact. You know, we definitely look for the real stuff. You know what I mean? Just for anybody who might be confused about what you might be getting at. Of course, we're talking kayfabe, no? These are kayfabe characters, or these are real people?
They're kayfabe, of course. But,
okay,
but I treat them like they're my real kids. Just
yeah,
that
that's fine. A lot of you guys in call do that type of stuff. You know, it ain't my cup of tea, but who am I to judge? You know,
right.
So you have kids in call. These are kayfabe characters that he's referring to in terms of a story. You know,
Yeah.
in
Don't
call,
worry, guys. You'll see them very soon. You'll see them all debut very, very soon.
and in call, you have a lot of people who, I mean, most people go for the fantasy thing. You know what I mean? The fantasy thing is one of the things that people are into within call. You know, and I understand that. I kind of go more for like the rugged, edgy, real side of things. You know what I mean? But I think that's great. I think that's cool that you have some kayfabe characters that are children of yours, and these are stuff. I mean, I've seen Ray do stuff like that, and Devin, some other
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
You know, I've seen some of that. But you know, we really want to give you the opportunity to discuss some of the issues that you dealt with in call. Besides that, the kids, the story, you know, that's all cool. That's kayfabe, you know, that's just for fun. That's character. But here on City of Impact, we go in and out of character. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm
And
just looking at the YouTube chat and hearing what Shendon just said, and honestly, Shendon, I'll be completely honest with, yeah, if I actually had real kids at 25, I might as well start drinking because that shit would fucking absolutely
that,
stress me out.
there we go. There's the real stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and
So,
by the way, I'm straight edge, and that just tells you how much I am not lying here.
oh man, if you a goddamn liar, because if you ever had medicine in your life, I hate to break it to you, you know.
Oh, I only take medicine like if absolutely necessary, but like basically like I do play hockey on a special needs team. Shout out to them, by the way. And I tend to take like ibuprofen or something like to help like basically the muscles because I mean hockey's
Yeah,
like no kids game basically. Like
right,
you basically like you fall down and you take hits and stuff like that, and those muscles, oh my god, they ache for a while.
right. Okay, well, I respect that, and I'm a bit of a hockey fan myself, at least of the sport. You know, I can't tell you who my favorite hockey player is and whatnot, but the sport itself, I have passion for, and it was
Yeah,
really
I
kind
can
of the
tell you
early
instantly who my favorite is, and quite ironically, I was born the very year he retired, and that's Wayne Gretzky. Gotta
Wayne
love the
Gretzky.
great one.
I hear that name thrown a lot. Wayne Gretzky is a name that gets thrown around a lot, but
Yeah, and as
less.
of recently, I mean Alexander Ovechkin, he's 8 away from Gretzky as far as this podcast is being aired at the moment. So I don't
Oh
know if
yeah.
he's like put like a few more in the net. I don't know if the Capitals played last night. I'll probably check ESPN later.
All right. Well, that's probably going to entice and excite some people in the comment area, but let's try to get back to your story real quick.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, let's. I think before we dive in, we should probably give people, I guess, a little bit of your background. So, you know, for those that might not know you, obviously, you know, you're very commonly known in call, but to the JTB fan base, you know, you're a new face. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you're getting an opportunity on behalf of MPW to come here and to speak your mind. Hello to all of y'all in the comment section.
Yeah, I
Um,
see Amber just joined the chat. Hi,
there's
Amber.
Amber, and you know, we're giving you this platform. We really have to go step by step so that people can understand your story. Okay, so as we go step by step with this, you know, Nick KIKEN, much like seemingly everybody that I'm looking at in the comment area, and maybe some other people who might tune into this, um, is obviously a CAW wrestler. He's not just. I'm pretty sure. Have you done simulation as well, or has it always been PvP for you?
I basically just like I didn't do PvP like as like actual like e-feds or anything. It was just more so like just for the fun of it. But I
Right.
mean, I've dabbled in like sim feds, which is more commonly what MPW is known for. Shout out to you, Ray.
Yeah. We got the mad scientist watching. The
Yeah, I see him in
Edward
the comments.
Nigma.
Ray knows I love him, and quite honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest, Ray. You may be a bit of a bit
Mm-mm.
annoying every now and again, but I love you like a brother, man. Love you.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, it
he
started off as a
started.
PvP fed. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, you obviously uh, been around for quite a bit, but if you had to stretch back in time, you know, what would you say was the very first video game where Nick KIKEN came into play?
Whew. Well, I wasn't really known as Nick KIKEN at that point, and this,
I mean, but you're Nick KIKEN now. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't
yeah,
known as
and
Kevin
Nick
Impact
KIKEN
back
came
then
around.
neither.
Nick KIKEN started his development in 2K19,
Well,
and then in
let's say
and then in
this. Let's say this. I wasn't Kevin Impact back then neither, but I started my rounds back on WWF Warzone on the PlayStation 1.
yeah,
So wherever you started to make your character is where I would say that Nick KIKEN started, even if he
yeah.
didn't have his name. So where was the first game where you started to make him?
Well, for myself, I definitely can say it was more so. I did have some help with it by somebody else that quite I don't associate with, and we'll talk about it in a bit. But I do know it was around the tail end of 2K19 when Nick
Okay.
KIKEN came into being.
Okay, so we keep talking about 2K19.
It's a good
2K19
game, honestly.
a lot of people say it is. A lot of people are big fans of 2K19 engine and the way it ran. And they consider 2K19 to be one of the best 2K games of all time. You started your stuff 2K19. When you come into the industry, who's giving you your break? Is it Ray? Is it some other promoter? How does it start out for Nick KIKEN?
Okay, so I was around the time that 2K22 came out, I was going to be was hearing some rumblings from somebody I used to associate with that I was going to be granted a shot in the last ever Forever Movement Royal Rumble, which of course never happened. Plans changed and all that. But basically, like the in character reason, I was going to be the surprise 31st entrant, which of course, we all know when Rombuster came out, like that was kind of like the in kayfabe reason why I didn't come out because at number 30 it was Pride, and quite honestly, we all know very well that Pride definitely. I'm not going to say cleaned house because he didn't win the damn thing, but I definitely can say that if not for Rom basically going out there and kind of sort of defending my honor and kayfabe, of course, I
Right.
probably would say that I would not respect Rom the way I do if not for that moment. And I've respected Rom, and I love all the guys over there in the movement. Cameron
Yeah.
Bash, despite how a lot of people view him, Stigma. Oh my God, that dude! I'd probably wish that if I actually got the chance to sit down in a Discord call with Stigma, me and him could just like talk for hours. Bash and
Right.
I mean, Bash was always nice to me. I mean, I understand why he can rub some people the wrong way, but Bash basically treated me like family when I first joined the Movement Discord server. And quite honestly, if I was to go back, I guarantee he still would.
Right. I remember Ron being, I think, on a couple of their thumbnails back in the day
Oh
when
yeah,
we were doing stuff on.
Rom straight up. I can definitely say, and I know if he probably ends up getting sent this later, I could definitely say, Rom, I know if you want to say that if you're watching this, I want you to know I still love you. I respect you. Keep doing what you do in the wrestling industry now. And as always, your I consider you family, not just because of FAM, but all of us consider you as family. From MPW all the way to JTV. I'm sure a lot of people can definitely say, if not for FAM, they probably wouldn't be here. And I am just one
Okay.
of them.
Okay. So
And also, and
FAN.
also, and also, Rom definitely, I can say after the hair transplants, he definitely has better looking hair than I do.
Okay. So after so pretty much FM gave you your break and call pretty much.
They were supposed to, it just never happened.
But I mean,
Unfortunate.
you started in FAM. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had Rom like have me like do some dark matches and all that stuff and kayfabe and like it basically kind of like like basically was starting to build me up, but then all of a sudden Rom basically somehow let it slip backstage that I was going to be the 31st entrant. He had me with the whole like kayfabe FAM treatment, like my own private locker room, the whole 9 yards, and somehow, some way, that information of where my locker room was located got to Stigma and the guys. And I heard a knock on my door, and the door opened. And I thought it was Rom. And the second I turned around, baseball bat to the face. And that can probably tell you people one singular person that hit me with that bat. It was Stigma. But I hold no ill will towards Stigma for doing that. And quite honestly, I'm going to be completely honest. If not for Rom immediately finding me before the Rumble match happened, and I just told him, go get your gear on as fast as you can and just go out there and defend my honor. Rom did his best. And quite honestly, a lot of the stuff that happened in the Rumble, because I was going to be in the Rumble. I was actually not going to win it because we all know very well who won it, and that was Sean Nova. And honestly, I know that Nova hates me for a little bit of what we'll eventually get into, but I want him to know you're doing your best over there in COH. I saw the match between you and Red Bane at Carnage at the Capitol, Sean, and I want you to know you and Red Bane tore the fucking house down. And I mean that. Good luck with your future over there. And Godspeed, brother. Love you.
All right, very well. So just to double check, I'm going to ask you this question again.
Okay.
The very first PvP ring that you've ever wrestled in belonged to FAM, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So FAM is where you pretty much got your start in call. Who was in charge over there at FAM?
It was somebody that was kind of very close to the higher ups of FAM, and I don't talk to them anymore. They basically distanced themselves, threw me away, all that stuff. And it was a person who is an intersex transgender woman by the name of Bree George.
So you mean to tell me this Bree George is the founder of FAM?
No, she is very good friends with the founders, and she was the one that helped me get into it.
But I'm asking who was in charge? Who's the head honcho at FAM? Over here, it's me. Who's Mr. or Mrs. FAM?
Oh, that would have been Rom, hands down.
So Rom was running FAM.
Well, I mean, he was the general manager, for Pete's sake.
Well, I'm saying, did you know the actual owner of FAM, or were you just second-handing with different people?
Yeah. Well.
Ray just cleared it up for us. So was it Cameron Bash and Rom?
Yes.
Okay, so Cameron
Bash in the background, basically helping out as much as he could, but it was mostly Cam and Rom.
Okay, because I remember the name Cameron Bash, and I remember Ron being on a few covers. I didn't talk to Sean Nova, but I've heard his name thrown around. And I had some conversations with Nick Virtual back in the day and stuff like that.
That dude's a legend, straight up.
You know, he was pretty amazing. I will definitely say that. You know, back in the day, he definitely made some great edits. He was definitely very talented and very creative. I will say that. And I also remember Evie. Ray knows Evie, obviously. You know,
Eve Heron, absolutely love her to death.
Yes,
I just wish she would stop ghosting Ray. Hint, hint, Eve. Hint, hint.
Well, I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I mean, we got to talk, man. You know, we all got to talk. You know,
honestly, I don't know what Eve's reason is, but I just want her to know I don't mean any ill will against you, towards you, Eve. I just want you to know, still love you like a sister, and I just want you back in MPW as soon as possible. Ray loves you. I love you. We all love you in MPW, and we want you back.
And let me throw a name at you. I heard his name thrown around a few times. He had signed with a few promotions that I knew of. Was Black Hair on in FAM? Am I right about that or am I
Yeah, he
wrong?
was one of the 4 founders. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I remember him being thrown around.
Yeah, he left FAM like after the whole Star Team Unite drama. I'm sure Ray knows what I'm talking about.
Okay. Okay. Uh, not sure if I'm going to go ahead and ask you about that. I want to definitely keep the focus on you and your story. So you do your time in FAM. Um, where do you go after FAM? What other promotion approaches you after FAM? Or, what was there some sort of an issue that led to you leaving FAM?
It was more so they didn't really have like any plans for me.
Okay.
Because of Famniversary. Like I was gonna be in the Rumble, Stigma took me out, and then they basically just like and didn't have anything to do with me. And a lot of it also boiled down to my friend and tag team partner that I had at the time, which we'll talk about him a little later on.
Well, I mean, you could talk about him right now if you like, while we're on the topic, so you don't forget if you want.
So like basically, like to anyone that doesn't know who I'm talking about, I will basically mention his name. This was a kid that I met long before I ever got into FAM, and this kid basically he had stars in his eyes and quite honestly a very big ego, and definitely like he saw himself as like higher than me on the totem pole when really he was not. And that kid's name was Jacob Serber.
Oh, I've heard that name.
Yeah. And basically he started getting into the bad books with the FAM founders, and that's the reason why a lot of the plans with me didn't happen, because me and him were a package deal at the time. And I just want to make it very clear that if not for him just being a selfish, egotistical, prick, basically, of a kid, then I probably would have gotten into Rumble match and wouldn't have had Stigma literally nearly bash my skull in with that damn bat and get screwed out of a chance to appear at Famniversary, the final Famniversary, mind you, in FAM history. But all because of Jacob, that wasn't the case.
And just to verify for our viewers and our listeners, this is all when you say you got screwed over there with all that. This is all in story, in character, in kayfabe. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Well, it's kind of real. It's kind of not, basically. Yeah.
Okay. What was this some sort of a way that they was like writing you off, fuck you, see you later kind of thing, or what? What do you make of it?
It was more so they didn't want to bring me in because of Jacob. Like Jacob was already like really like basically he was starting to burn the bridge between the movement, and Bash was already getting irritated with him, and I certainly can say Rom and Stigma were getting irritated as well. Bree and I were both getting irritated, but we both still dealt with the kid at this point, but it didn't really like start like toppling the dominoes until a day after the Rumble, where me, Bree, and Jacob were in a Discord call, just like hanging out and all that, and then like everything just fell apart from there.
And when you say they didn't want to bring you in, are you alluding to the fact that you had done some tapings or matches for them and they didn't really want to commit to really bringing you in as one of their own kind of thing?
Yeah, because they realized that at the end of the day, that if they brought me in at the Rumble, Jacob was going to be bitching up here, there, and everywhere, saying, "No, when am I getting in? When am I getting in? When am I getting in?" And I can definitely say, and I can say from the bottom of my heart, I do not regret their decision. Because in the end of the day, you need to do what you need to do to make both sides happy, not just one side. And I quite honestly can say to this day, I respect the FAM management for keeping me out and just letting me do dark matches until the Rumble. And sure, I'll basically give Stigma credit. He kind of did me a favor. When he took me out back at the Rumble, I can certainly say that deep down, I had a feeling that after that night, that there were going to be, like, Ron basically allowed me to do a dark match against Stigma to kind of get my payback, and then, like, after that, I just was quietly let go, but I was let go out of sheer respect for those guys, and I still love Ron, I still love Stigma, I still love Cameron Bash. Those guys are absolutely great.
Yeah, but at the same time, if they were responsible and secretly working together to get you out of FAM, it's really fucked up. That's toxic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if that's
yeah, but Kevin, here's the thing: you need to keep this in mind that they did not want Jacob to get into FAM and basically hog the spotlight. And I can say from the bottom of my heart, I do not blame them for that decision. If that is,
but what does that has to do with you? You're not Jacob. You know, you had your own thing going on, and you got screwed out of it because of their situation or their thoughts. Or their
basically, it was due to my association with them at the time. That's probably what
okay.
it was.
Got you. Okay, I've been there as a car promoter. I've been there, so I completely understand where they're coming from with that. It's not cool. You know what I mean? It's not okay, but I understand where they're coming from with that because they shouldn't have had you pay for anything that anybody else did. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
When I had my fallout with Ray, sometime back, I mean, the years just go by now so quick. A lot of people that sign with JTV know what I'm talking about. 1 month in JTV is like a year. You know what I mean? 3 months go by in JTV and it's like 2-3 years went by. And that's really how it feels because everything is just so quick. And sometimes it's almost weird because it's like I'll be talking to somebody and I'm like, oh, this is a rookie. This is a new kid. Like, what are you talking about? I've been here 2-3 years now. I'd be like, shit, I didn't even realize that, you know? So when I had my falling out with Ray, and I had told you the story, but I'll share again. I have nothing to hide. Had my falling out with Ray. We wasn't talking for a bit. You know, me and Ray was kind of in the same boat. Ray had people trying to manipulate him. And, you know, Ray will be on here at some point also, and I'll give him the opportunity to tell his story if he wants to. But, you know, he had been manipulated time and time again. Me and Shendon.
Yeah, and then, quite honestly, I was there to witness some of these people manipulating him because I came into MPW around that time, and quite honestly, I definitely can say I know the people that you're mentioning, and I'll say their names very soon.
Well, before you jump into all that, I'll just continue saying what I'm saying so you continue your story. Just, you know, and the reason I'm only saying it is because this is in reference to what decision was made by FAM with yourself, you know, and your tag team partner. You know, when I had my issues with Ray and people was in Ray's ear, me and Shendon outside of character and in a GM role tried to, you know, talk to him time and time again about, you know, pretty much he's making a mistake. You don't want to do this because not everybody in CAW has your best interest at heart, as you've experienced with the FAM thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's people that are inside of this, you know, just for personal gain, or they have some sort of weird fetish, or they just want to boss people around, or they want to feel like they're entitled, but they want to feel like, you know, they could pretty much run people and whatnot. And I'm not really
looking at you, Bree. Looking at you.
I'm not really into this bossing people around and running shit. The only time I really boss people around is when people get lazy and I got to do my goddamn job. And I'm like, I need y'all to do y'all shit if you're going to be in this promotion, you know. But you know, we have had that situation with Ray, and then Devin fell into that category because Devin had been linked to Ray. So Devin had been trying. Yeah, Devin had been trying to get some work in JTV. He came in for a taping on JTV 19. Shendon booked him up, I believe. He had a match. I think it was with Colin Klein, and they were pretty tight, both of them. You know, they've done their thing, and long story short, you know, I pretty much categorize Devin the same way they categorize you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because I didn't want to take any chances, because, the obvious reasons. And then as time went on, with Devin being back, I had to apologize to him, and I still apologize.
Yeah, don't worry, John Brown. You'll probably get that one day. Maybe very
Devin
soon. You never know.
Devin never did anything to me or JTV. Devin was a peacekeeper, but I didn't know that at the beginning. I did not know that. As time went on. Devin went through some frustrations as well as Ray, and I realized that the right thing to do was to talk with them and to try to help them out. You know what I mean? Because the obvious reasons. These were two people that were frustrated where they were at, people they were working with and call, and they just wanted out of jail. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and
with
that's the obvious thing that Devin did for me, and of course we'll get into that when we get to that.
right.
Devin definitely was a brother when I needed him most.
Okay, well, we could go into different things. I'm pretty much done with my point. I've made my point, and I want to just continue with. Okay, so when you're out of FAM, now what? Where do we go? Who do we talk to? Who hits us up?
Right.
Ray hits you up. He offers you a deal.
Hang
And
on,
this was what?
I think my mom's calling me. Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, while he steps out, just want to thank all of y'all for tuning in. I know it's pretty early in the afternoon, but appreciate it. Who do we got here? I agree with that, Bandit man. I'm getting a few finishes stored for his ass in a little bit if you keep cutting me off, But I mean, this kid has a lot to say, you know what I mean, and I'm interested, and that's the reason why I'm not saying anything, because I'm interested in what he has to say. But yeah, I'm all good. I'll make sure to hit him with at least a signature for you, Bandit. I'll hit him with a signature for you just to let him know, hey, wait your turn, and you let me say what I got to say. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's all good, man. If y'all got any questions, let me know. You know what I mean? We're here. We're live on the channel. You got Kevin Impact on a live microphone. That's a dangerous game to play, But we're just here trying to give this kid the opportunity to tell his story, and we're going step by step because he has a lengthy story. Yeah, I want to put this one up. He said he does like to cut you off, isn't it? Oh, damn. Oh, man. Shit. Smash that like button if y'all having a nice time, and definitely share it, man. Share the show. Post it everywhere. We're here having fun. That's what it's all about. I got a damn wine bottle right here, and I can't open it because I bought the one that doesn't pop right up. You know what I mean? I was supposed to buy the one where the top just comes right off. But shit, I'm having a hard time trying to open this shit while talking to this kid. And I'm like, damn it. I got my cup in front of me like I did last night. I had a good time last night with them boys over there at the Real 88. It was fun. I'm definitely looking forward to doing it again. Keith Ocean had some issues, so he had to step out. Let's see. I'll see what you guys got. I want to know what wrestler, what the hell, expired Nick the most to get into the business. VIP said expired. I think he meant to say inspired. Yes, VIP. Inspired is the word you're looking for, not expired. Expired would have meant somebody terminated his ass. The water de glace. But let's see. Most interesting comments I will highlight. I like this one. Bandit's killing me. Man needs a drink for this. I'm dead. I like to have my drink, by my side while I listen to stories. You know what I mean? That's just my thing. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Nick is out here talking about he's straight edge. I'm not straight edge. Shit. But I mean, when people say they're straight edge, it usually makes me laugh, because if you ever taken medicine in your life, guess what? You're not straight edge. That's just how it goes. So nobody's really straight edge, But That it is what it is. VIP says my phone couldn't spell the word right. Oh man. But yeah, something wrong with your phone, VIP. You know what I mean? Because I be going on here, my phone be auto correcting me. We're 40 minutes into the show. We want to thank y'all as always. You're here in the City of Impact, episode 8. We're talking to Nick KIKEN. Nick's talking to family right now. We got a message from Shendon, says Majesty might want to make a real interpretation. Uh, I see that, Bandit. You know, I stayed away from Hennessy, man. You know what I mean? But last time I had some Hennessy, I was back in the old hood with my cousin and a few gang bangers. You know what I mean? A few red bandana people back in the hood. You know, my people. Uh, I've always been in the hood. The hood is my thing. I've always been around dangerous people and just I've seen people get killed. And I know I've seen a lot of things that I'm not going to necessarily put on here, but it's definitely been a lot of experiences in my life that I've seen a lot of things, and I'm sure y'all have as well. Uh, what do we got? Colin Klein says, "Does Kick want to play in the NHL one day?" I think he meant to say Nick. We got the third eye, Chris Conscience, Smirnoff, and what, Ice? I mean, Smirnoff is a good drink. I mean, it's definitely a go-to. I was doing a little bit of that for a little bit, a couple years ago when I was going through my Smirnoff phase. Um, you know, I had explored with beer first before I explored with any other alcohol, liquor. But I took my time step by step. I probably had my first drink when I was 18 years old. Had my first shot of Bacardi, I think it was, and I tried to stay away from that stuff, but and ain't nothing wrong with a grown man drinking beer from time to time. You have a beer with a friend of yours. I usually like to drink when I'm at social gatherings or just in my own personal time, just for fun once in a while or to celebrate something. I don't like to drink every single day. Not a big fan of that. I wish I can say the same for 420, but that's a whole nother conversation that Kevin Impact doesn't necessarily want to put on here. What do we have? Bandit says he had his first drink when he was 12. Jesus Christ. Man started early. I got offered drinks when I was young. I won't say by who, but I rejected it every time. I was like, no, I waited till I was 18 before I took my first taste of alcohol. And it was definitely a strange experience the first time. But after that, you became a man, at that point in time. You just never know what it's going to taste like at first. You know what I mean? Yes, indeed. Love this comment. Last night when we was on the Real 88, I had to stop the boys mid-sentence just to pay tribute to that boy right there. And we want to take this time right now while we wait for Nick to come back to pay tribute and to give a big rest in peace to George Foreman. The legendary boxer passed away at 67 yesterday. I still can't believe it. It's still shocking. And I had forgotten that we had lost Joe Frazier, which was another fantastic boxer. George Foreman went as far as to at least have one fight with Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? And Muhammad Ali cooked his bacon, but at the same time, it was iconic, it was memorable, it was legendary. And at the time that George Foreman fought Muhammad Ali, it was later in his career. And he was willing to go and do it, after everything, which makes me think about Kevin Impact a little bit. You know what I mean? People want me to come back. I mean, anything is always possible. All of you guys are fantastic and very talented, and I would love to work with any one of you, and be my own George Foreman at the end of my career. So I think that's a big shout out to George Foreman. Rest in peace, and thank you for the influence, George Foreman. All right, what else we got here? VIP says, my dad gave me my first drink when I was 11 years old. Jesus Christ, don't say that out loud, VIP. That man you trying to get your pops locked up, sweetheart. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm wondering where the hell the elephant in the room is at. I don't see him in the common area, and I still haven't opened my wine bottle as I'm trying. Nick, are you back with us yet or what?
Yeah, sorry. Dogs were just getting all
All right.
rambunctious.
Yes, sir. All right. We want to welcome you back to the show, Nick KIKEN. We was obviously talking about, you getting with Ray. Ray makes you this offer to come to his promotion, of course, after the exit at FAM. And I'm wondering, what game is this? Is it 2K20? I'm guessing.
Yeah, Ray got me into the whole thing with like 2K22. This because like everyone was jumping back to 19 because of the dumpster fire that was 20.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, to this
I
day I still
remember
keep
that.
yeah, to this day I still keep saying to I still will say to Jacob Serber, you should have gone back to 19 instead of sticking with 20 for your universe mode, bud. You should have went back like everyone else.
I tried to stick with 2K20 as much as I could. It was the pandemic era. We were doing empty arena matches every show and just trying to be unique. And I remember giving a speech about it, and I remember trying to talk to everybody. I was really worried at that time because I was like, you know, a lot of us were gamers, so we knew that JTV wasn't going to be affected because it's online. We don't really have to be at a physical wrestling arena, you know what I mean? But I was worried that some of the people here were going to just keep getting COVID, and I was even more worried that I was going to lose somebody. Something
Yeah.
I didn't think about is I didn't really ever get to a point where I was scared of COVID. Don't know why, but ever
Yeah, I
since it
never
came
got COVID
out,
in my
like,
life.
well, I did get COVID, but I didn't sit there and was worried about it ever. I didn't think that I would ever catch it, and I didn't think like it didn't concern me as much as it should until when I caught COVID. I remember getting a phone call, and I'm not going to go too long with this, but I got a phone call from a nurse, after they tested me, and she was all concerned and everything, and I'm like, I don't know why, because I'm going to be fine. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to take my vitamins. You know what I mean? I'm going to shower. I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to do my JTV. And that's just all it was. I had COVID for about 2 weeks. And out of those 2 weeks, only 2 days were bad for me. The rest of them, I'd knock out for like maybe 19 hours in a coma. But I was fine. A little tingling in the throat, but that's just about it. But moving on.
Yeah, I
Uh,
see Chris's question right there, and I'll get into that soon enough.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're definitely going to come back to that question momentarily, but for those wondering, of course, we're referencing Ray, Burke Lawson, Ray Everett, whatever you want to call him, Shadow X-Ray, one of the greatest minds in CAW. It doesn't
Regardless of
matter
what
what.
people say about him.
Exactly. And that's always been my thing. Me and Shendon have talked about this time and time again. Even when me and Ray had issues, which, I never really had an issue with Ray. Ray kind of had an issue with himself. And then it just affected everything around him and the decisions he made, you know what I mean? Because of the
Yeah.
people he chose to be with. So we never really had a problem. Me and him were always good. And I fell in love with him like a brother because I met him in 2016. And then in 2016, he came into the pro wrestling circuit. We discussed the concept about this storyline for this group called the Skull Brotherhood, which is the Illuminati of CAW, if you will. And Burke Lawson sort of being the spokesman of them, you know what I mean? Along with a few others, characters he's had, kayfabe, and other people that we brought into the mix that, were real people, PvP. And since 16, got along with Ray. He's like a little brother to me. Love gaming with him, playing DC Universe and whatnot. And eventually I would go on to meet Devin, but Devin didn't know Ray. Isn't that crazy? Devin was here, but he didn't know Ray until they went out of JTV. And then I find out from the grapevine, I found out that Devin knows Ray. I'm like, what? And they're working together. And they work so good together. It's almost like Starsky and Hutch. And they went on to they took MPW to heights that no one else that was working with Ray could ever take them.
Yeah, I
You know
was
what I
about to
mean?
say those two practically act like Bo and Luke Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard. I'm a
Absolutely.
Southerner, so that comment probably would make sense in some ways.
Yeah.
I know how the viewpoint with the Dukes of Hazzard is
Yeah.
not really all too kind because of
Well, I mean,
an obvious reason, and that being the flag on the car.
yeah, I mean they would butt heads. I mean, me and Shin didn't butt heads creatively from time to time. You know, it happens, but it's different when you can be mature enough to butt heads and know when to make peace and protect the integrity of y'all's promotion. You understand what I'm saying? Me and Shin could butt heads all day, but at the end of the day, we're gonna hug it out. You know what I'm saying? You know, and show love to each other, and we're gonna put JTV first. You know what I mean? So that's where Devin and Ray sort of distance themselves from other toxic e-feds and promotions. You know what I mean? And that's why I gave them credit. And when I saw that, it made me more interested in talking with them again, because I started realizing that they're actually doing the right thing for CAW, the right thing. You know what I mean? So, but before I think so that we don't lose track of people getting their questions answered. Let's go ahead and answer Conscience's question real quick, and then we'll continue talking about race. So here's his question right now, and he asks, "How does it feel to be a free man now that you're out of call, Nick?" And I'm assuming he means out of some promotions that obviously were dragging you down. So I'll let you answer that how you feel.
Whew. Geez, I honestly don't know how to answer that one, not in all honesty. But I mean, just like being back in MPW, it's just like it feels like I'm going like back to my roots, really. And of course, I know Devin's not here, and I'm sure he'll probably pop in later. But yeah, still got to thank him for basically ripping Bree George a new one and getting my name back. Love you, brother. But yeah, deep down, I still do like Bree. I mean, she's doing her best with what she's doing, but I mean, still, I'm not gonna lie. She did basically kind of stab me in the back, but I'm gonna just say right now, and if she does get sent this, I want her to know. I want her to know that not only am I sorry for all the shit that she basically accused me of and all the shit that I've done, which we'll get into later, I want to make it clear. I hold no ill will against her, and I know she basically had this thing to like rub people the wrong way, but I never really had like really any problems with her outside of like her basically like me accidentally like misgendering her and a bunch of other things, but me and her never really had any real
Well,
beef.
I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you off right there, player. There's no way that you can misgender a human being. You have men and you have women. There's no misgendering. Okay, so that's
Well, when
that.
you're transgender, then that whole
I-
thing practically gets
If you're
thrown out the window.
transgender, you're either a transgender male or a transgender female, and that's okay. That's fine
Exactly.
if you choose that, but you can't misgender a human being. You know,
Exactly.
unless you call a man a woman and a woman a man. I mean, that would be misgendering. If you're calling a guy a woman, that's misgendering. You know what I mean? You can't misgender someone. You know, it's male or female. You're either one of them, whether you choose to be, you know, gay or transgender. That's your choice. You know, you have options in 2025. It's your choice what you
Absolutely.
want to be. But misgendering, I think there's a misunderstanding in today's society of this misgendering. You misgender someone when you call them by the wrong physical gender that they are. That's when you misgender someone. Let's just
Yes.
get that straight here on the City
And
of Impact.
now Bree basically she thought that I basically like did it like on purpose, and I want to get this out there right now. It was an absolute accident.
But before you get it out there, uh, just for those that don't know, who is Bree and what promotion is she from? Just so we understand.
Okay, so I met Bree back in FAM, and
Okay, so Bree, what's Bree's full name over there?
her whole gimmick thing at that time was the outcast Bree George, but now she calls herself the mother Bree effing George. And quite on, and she used to be a part of.
Hold on, you said Bree F and George.
That's what she has on her cotton name.
Okay,
So
hold on, cause you gonna kill me before I hit 40 years old. Okay, so Bree F and George is his name.
well, her name, yes.
His name. That's his name. He plays a girl, but it's his name. Bree Effin
Oh,
George
no,
is
no,
his
no.
name.
Bree is transgender, and she's a transgender female. I'm just gonna get that whole thing out there right now.
A transgender female. What is a transgender female, Nick? What is that? You see how we get confused? Is it a guy or is it a woman? It's a
woman
guy,
that
right?
used to be a man. Yes.
Okay, it's a woman that used to be a man. So a female that converted to being male. In her mind, she converted herself to be.
Actually, no. She was a man, then she transitioned to a female.
Okay. So that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so he presents himself to the world as a female. Okay, so he presents himself as you said, Bree Effin George and FAM, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
that was before like FAM basically died at the anniversary, and I mean she ended up going into COH, and I was just like a fan in that Discord, and this was around the time like Q Twister Merc was there.
That's completely fine. Okay, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to say whatever you want to say to him, but I'm not going to let you waste time apologizing for calling him by what he is. You know what I mean? We're not going to do that on here because that's just dumb. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. So if you want to apologize to him for anything else, be my guest. If you want to say sweet things to him, make him feel better, whatever. But, you know, on this show, we're going to do shit the right way. That's all that is.
I mean, I just want Bree to know I hold no ill will against them, and quite honestly, I just hope they just keep doing what they're doing, and quite honestly, treat people better than you treated me. And this goes to anyone that they associate with right now. I don't care who it is.
So what is it exactly that he did to you that you felt mistreated?
Okay, guys, I'm seeing all the comments, guys. I am just gonna say right now, basically the pronouns game. I am just gonna say right now, I'm gonna call them what I want to call them, and I just want to get that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You can call them anything you want, but you can't expect us to do the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I just want to get that out there right now.
Us over here, we call someone by what they are. We don't call someone by what they want to be called, because I mean, if that's how we're going to do this, I mean, you could call me daddy. You know, yeah, my pronouns is dada. Okay. Everybody needs to refer to me as dada from now on, even if you have problems with me. All right. Okay. So okay. respects to you from me on behalf of JTV. We absolutely accept that. If you choose to use pronouns, we have no problem with that. We want you to know that. But we don't use pronouns over here because it's just fucking weird. You know what I mean? We don't do that shit. You know, we grown people over here. We don't, you know, a lot of people dealing with mental illness, but we're not trying to do all that. Okay. But if you want to use pronouns, that's fine. But we're going to, you know, you can call him or her. You can call him she. I'll call him he. Okay. What happened with this individual? What happened with this individual that caused you issues?
Well, I can definitely say most of it all started when I fell out with Jacob Server, and this was like around like June of 23. Like this was before MPW Ascension episode 3, and I'll probably like get into that whole timeline of events like shortly. But me and Jacob fell out because he was asking for things from me, from Bree. Like he was getting me to ask for stuff from Bree, and wow, we gave him some stuff. He said it wasn't enough. And quite honestly, I want to basically get this point out there. If he just took the time to actually just be patient, wait, all that other stuff, he probably would have gotten a lot more than I got. And I just want him to know that. And I know he's probably going to be like bitching up here, there, and fucking everywhere practically if he gets sent this. But I want him to know the truth. I want him to know I did not stab you in the back. You stabbed me in the back when you started caring more about yourself than me and you. It was all about us. It was never just about you. And that's why I stabbed him in the back. And I quite honestly can say, while I do regret it, I honestly can say I may be ashamed of a lot of the things I said and did, and I'm not
Yeah.
particularly fond of them. But at the
Right.
end of the day, I want him to know what happened between me and him happened, and
Right.
I quite honestly am a lot better off without him, and I
Yeah.
don't give a shit if he has a problem with it. And also, I want to get this out of the way too. Jacob, I
Yeah.
know you're stealing some of my fucking moves, and I'm not going to take shit from you for that. The original mother.
Oh. Okay, I had to get that out. That man, this is one of my favorite episodes ever on the City of Impact. I think he used a finisher on himself accidentally. Nick, are you good? Are you here, Nick?
Yeah, sorry, I just need to get that out. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm glad you did. Shit, man, you know it was quite a breeze that you let out there that time. You know, you had to get that out. But I mean, if you feel like somebody's screwing you, you know, you should have the right to speak your mind on it. We're doing that here today.
Damn right.
So that's what's up. Okay, so we got a little bit of insight on Bree George, some of the stuff that went on with that, and obviously your former tag.
Yeah, basically, I did some inappropriate stuff that, of course, Kevin, you basically, when you and I first met and like we talked and like kind of set this whole thing up, you know a good majority of all that, and I'll get into that whole thing in just a little bit, but I want to basically say that the fallout between me and Bree happened relatively within the next few months. Like it didn't really like the teeth didn't get sunk into this whole thing until literally September 1st
of this year. Oh, 23.
No,
okay. That's what I was going to ask you. We definitely got to say dates or years so people know what timeline we're talking about. Okay. So you said 23, September 23. Okay, September 23, you was having issues with Bree, and this was an FAN?
This was actually in a place that used to be associated with Ray and MPW at the time. It was called the Carpe Diem Network.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know anything about that, but I'm all in.
The people that run that place, I'm going to say, I only have a problem with one singular person, a part of that network. And, well, I would say two, and Ray knows exactly who that other person is that I have a problem with, but it's more so because I have a problem with the person that basically did Ray dirty from there, specifically because they did Ray dirty. The other person that I'm going to mention that basically runs the Carpe Diem network, and that man's name, and I don't give a shit if they got a problem with this. I'm going to say their full name, and I'm not going to take shit from
hold on. Let's not say full names. Let's go with character names. You can say what you want, but let's go with character names. You know,
fair. Even though this is really his real name too, anyways.
Okay.
But
okay, I got you. Go ahead.
But he calls himself the other side Deshaun Walton. And I can definitely say right now that to anyone that knew this man, whether it was back in like Ultimate Championship Wrestling, SWW, or any of the other shows like Virtual Wrestling United or anything, I want you guys to know that deep down, Deshaun Walton, he's just a grouchy, miserable, poor, and probably at this point homeless bastard, really, who cares about Caw more than really just like, you know, going out and like putting money on his table. And quite honestly, and basically my beef with Deshaun didn't really basically get me like basically to the point where I'm seeing red, my blood's boiling. It didn't get to that point until none other than this date that I'm about to mention, November 1st, 2023. Consequential Comeuppance, Part 2. And Conscience, I see your comment about me getting in touch with Brandon Kravis, because me and Brandon Kravis, we knew each other from me and him knew each other from the Carpe Diem Network, but he used to be a part of MPW, and I haven't talked to him ever since like I got thrown out of the Carpe Diem network because of all this shit. But yeah, I haven't talked to him, and quite honestly, I mean, I'm giving him the platform to reach out to me. And in all honesty, I'm gonna be 100%. I'm not gonna have any ill will towards Brandon. If he wants to reach out to me, I'm giving him the free consent to do that. But anyways, back on topic here. So what happened at Consequential Comeuppance Part 2 is downright the most disrespectful and absolutely fucked up thing you can do as an eFed owner. Deshaun beat me up with a baseball bat and then hits me with the spin kick that, or black mass that he calls the deafening silence, picks me up, and then pulls out a gun and shoots me in the damn head.
He murdered your character pretty much.
Well, on the Carpe Diem network, yes, but not like overall, like killed off the character like altogether.
No, I mean, obviously not. That's more determined on the individual, you know, whether you quit on yourself. But I mean, in hindsight, it was almost like a disrespect. You know, he disrespected.
And here's the even more disrespectful thing. He did a now privated promo on Virtual Wrestling United's YouTube channel where he said that I deserved that. And I just want to basically get this out here. No, Deshaun, I did not deserve it. If anyone deserved all the hate and shit that they got coming to them, it was you. And I do not want to hear any shit that you could possibly say on Twitter that could say otherwise. You know you're an asshole, and everyone else knows it. Outside of the Carpe Diem network, and probably even within it. And I don't give a shit if he has a problem with that. I want him to know. And I also want him to know that I hold no ill will towards him against some of the decisions he made, no matter how stupid they are. But I want him to know that if me and him were to sit in a Discord call, I can definitely say I would rip him a new one. He'd probably go sobbing to his little Canadian girlfriend, Amanda, at the end of the day. And I hold no ill will towards Amanda, and I just want to basically be completely obvious. And that is straight up the bottom line. I hold no ill will towards Amanda. I know very well that while she probably was going to stop Deshaun from doing that, she didn't. And quite honestly, I want to say straight up, the Carpe Diem network should be ashamed of what they've done to me. And I want to make that point very abundantly clear. And Deshaun, I know you're probably going to get sent this and you're going to be listening to this later. I want you to know something. As long as MPW and JTV are putting in more viewership numbers than you're never going to amount to a fucking thing in this community ever again. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, no ill wills to the homie mentioned, but I mean, this man had what he had to say about you. These are his views, his thoughts, his opinions, and I respect him for saying it. Now, let's see if we can keep going.
Yeah, and he even had to change a COG character because I practically ruined the entire integrity of it. And seriously, Deshaun, Diana Anderson getting changed to Mercedes Hawkins? Seriously? Keep the fucking name, for God's sakes. I don't give a shit if I practically ruined the integrity of the character for you. Keep using it, for Pete's sake.
If any of them will want to come on here and call you out, will you agree to coming on here and speaking with them live and y'all being able to air your sides? Would you be open to that?
If Deshaun did it, probably.
Okay. All right. You know, because I want to let it be known, if anybody who gets this tape, gets a hold of this video, has interest in coming on and saying their side or even calling you out, speaking with you, I'll be glad to get you guys an invite to come here. You know, you can hit me up on Facebook, Kevin Impact. You know,
Deshaun has Facebook, but I don't know. If he does, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
y'all can hit us up. I mean, we're all over. You could drop a comment and on this video. Drop a comment that you'd like to speak your mind, and we'll see if we could talk about it. You know what I mean? I definitely want to provide a platform for people to be able to get, you know,
Damn right. I
their
mean, I
thoughts
didn't
out
hold
there.
back there.
No, and there should be no reason for you to hold back if you're telling the truth. You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
let's try to get back to your career a little bit,
Yeah.
because we're talking about stuff you want to talk about. We're having fun with that, and now we're gonna have some more fun again with your career. So, um, you said, I think it was in 2K20 that you met Ray, was it? No,
No,
around that time.
it was 22.
Okay, 22, 2K22. Ray brings you into MPW.
Yeah,
How does that go?
this is when he's still affiliated with the Carpe Diem network, because they had this whole partnership at the time.
Okay, I mean, yeah, obviously, you know, Ray was still doing business with them for a little bit, you know, and I don't know much about them. I really don't follow them. I don't know exactly who
Be
all
glad you
they
don't.
are. Yeah, I just don't, you know, but I hear it. I've heard about that Carpenter Network or whatever the hell it's called, and I just, you know, Ray had met some people. Obviously, Devin was one of them, and I guess he met you. You know what I mean? And
He met
how
me
does
through
that?
the movement. I didn't meet Devin until basically Ray basically introduced me to him, and we hit it off like right off the hop. And I still had Jacob like basically kind of wrapped around my shoulders, basically. Like he basically was clinging to me like I was a goddamn lifeline at this point. But me and him were just trying to like really break out of our shells after like Bree basically cut herself off from us, and like the group we had called the Traverse Elite was disbanded. Still
Right,
hate myself for like basically kind of being not really sort of the peacemaker, but sort of allowing all that to happen.
right.
But I can certainly say that at the end of the day, I'm grateful for the times that I had with the Traverse Elite. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. Same can be said with everything between me and Bree.
I mean, you know, CAW could be bumpy. You
Yeah.
know, I never got into this to wrestle for anyone. I got into this to present JTV to the world and to provide a platform for people that was looking for somewhere that they can wrestle. I didn't know any of this was going to happen, you know. And Corey Flash was the second guy that knocked on my door. You know what I mean? First guy was Lowrider, and all these people, they just started coming to JTV, and Corey was one of the first guys that was like, you know, I want to join. And I was just like, to me, it was weird because I'm like, join? What do you mean join? We don't pick people up from online. You know, we have our own characters. But then I started, you know, thinking, I'm like, this could be the future. And I was right. And it was the right thing to do. And over the years, slowly, I started just putting away my kayfabe characters, if you will, and I started focusing on the PvP characters, and it was something that worked out well. I got to meet Shandon, you know, Chris Conscience, a lot of creative people inside the ring and outside of the ring as well. People that have been through some of the shit you've been through, some of the stuff you've been airing here today, you know, just bad experiences, man, and different promotions, and just nobody wants to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Nobody,
And
absolutely not.
there's been a shit ton of people, not a lot. You know what I'm saying? You could count them with your hand, but there's been people that's like, oh, JTV's toxic and all this stuff. But like nobody's ever seen it. They're the only ones who've seen it themselves or talk about it to other people, and nobody sees it. Everybody that's here just has a good time. Like we've been happier than we've been having fun, we've been growing, being successful, and that's all I've ever wanted. You know, I never wanted to screw anybody over or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Anybody that's ever,
you guys do what you do, and I mean, you guys absolutely excel at it. And quite honestly, I can say that
we,
if I found out about you guys sooner, I probably would have been jumping through hoops just to get into JTV.
I'm pretty sure, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate we got 15 people tuning in. Smash that like button, man. Show some love and share with your friends and family, and post on social media. But yeah, CAW could be rocky. I've met a lot of toxic promoters, actual toxic promoters, and a lot of a lot of really childish and toxic people in call that just have no business being there. Just they don't make it fun. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
for
there's
the
the
most,
toxic people, and then there's the fucking weirdos. And I don't
of
think I need to
course,
talk about one certain weirdo. I mean, we
of
all know
course,
his name.
of
We all
course. I
know
mean,
who it is.
I can imagine, but I mean, of course, there's a lot of that goes on. Sure, absolutely. But you know, cause is a rocky road to travel on, and whether you're a wrestler, promoter, whatever, you know that from experience. Especially when you've been in the industry for years, you know how shit goes. When I first came into play and I came into the online world, if you will, it was 2010 SVR with Story Designer. I got to meet Corey Flash and people like that, and I dealt with a lot of community type of shows back then that was like, oh, we're gonna put JTV out of business and this and that, parody shows and shows that was trying to threaten us, you know, and people that were just lying about us, and we just kept doing our thing nonstop, kept growing, and I don't see none of them around anymore on YouTube or anything. It just died
Yeah,
off.
unfortunately, yeah, I can definitely say JTV and Forever a Movement straight up longest lasting. It's just a shame that FAM is well, it's dead now.
FM been around a long time, and I was trying to get to that when I first came into the streaming side of things, because I was in 14. I think it was November, December. It was like November, I think, of 14. We had the channel, this channel. I mean, the information is right on the channel. You could look it right up. But
Yeah,
at 14, we came into play. I made an announcement. I wasn't, things wasn't as sophisticated as it is today. But I remember FAM being around. I remember COH being around. I remember Ray Geddes being around. I remember Chris Conscience being around. Brendan Cuevas. All those names was being brought up. I remember Rom. A lot of these people were around for a long time. And when you've been around in call for a long time, you know a lot of these names. That's how I remember names like Chris Conscience from back in the day. I just never knew I would ever work with any of them. So for me, it's interesting how I really think compared to how people think I think. And the way that I actually think is I'm just honored and proud that I've gotten the opportunity, because you might be sitting here thinking you're privileged talking to me, but I'm telling myself I'm privileged sitting here talking to you and having all of y'all. You know what I mean? I'm
exactly.
privileged because I'm lucky that I get to talk to y'all here. And I'm proud because I never thought I'd work with Chris Conscience. Never thought you and I was going to talk, if it's one thing about me, and Ray knows this for a fact, and people who work with me know this for a fact, any promotion that I partner with, I never like taking their talent, never like signing their talent. I was usually, I don't like to call myself the victim or none of that shit, but I was usually the guy who had his talent either stolen or like, hey, can you let me Colin Klein? You know what I'm saying? Can you let me Shendon real quick? And then they just wouldn't know what to do with them. You know what I mean? I don't sit there and say, hey, I'm the hierarchy of creative in CAW. You know what I mean? I'm not the most creative, most genius writing boss man in CAW. Absolutely not. But I know wrestling and I have a creative mind. And when I apply that creative mind with Chris Conscience, certain people get scared. That's why they
Yep,
didn't want that. When I apply that mind with Shendon, that's terrifying. They didn't really want that. You know what I'm saying? I start working with my staff, with my people, start working with somebody like you. They don't want that because that's terrifying because they know what we can do. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm very proud to get to talk to y'all, very happy of it. And I can go on, but I don't want to because this is your episode. So let's just keep talking about you.
yeah,
Um, you come into MPW.
yeah. And then
How do you?
my first run with MPW, it ended because of like the fallout of like MPW Ascension Episode 3. And this was when Deshaun took it upon himself to bury my now former tag team partner and best friend, Jacob Serber, when quite honestly, I wanted to be the one to take care of him. But Deshaun took it upon himself to basically set an example for Jacob. And what I wanted to do after that all happened was I wanted to face Jacob at Last Survivor. the show that Ray was going to have. That's basically his Survivor Series. And
Okay,
last Survivor,
so this is all happening in MPW.
yes.
Okay, I got you. Continue.
So,
And this is
when that
2022.
no, this was 2023.
Okay, got you. Go ahead.
So, and like this was like sort of like June 20th, I believe. And I'll get into a little coincidence that I found out just recently. And basically, when that all happened, and like basically, like, and Bree was there, and we were all talking, we were like ripping into Jacob, and then like I think Bree said something that Ray didn't like, and then everything just fell apart from there. Deshaun immediately just left, deleted a lot of some roles, and then after that, they basically and actually I know what basically kind of led to this, and I'll give you guys a little peek behind the curtain. I'll actually Ray knows exactly how this all went down. He knows who basically like threw the fucking book at me and threw me out of MPW. And Kevin, I'm sure you remember exactly this man's name and who he's associated with and still associated with, mind you. And that man was the leader of Punk's Not Dead, or PDF's Next Door, as we all like to call it, Trey Jeter.
All right, I'm gonna go take a piss real quick, but I'm listening. I'll be back.
All right. But yeah, to basically everyone that basically doesn't know about Trey Jeter, or if you do know him, then yeah, okay, see, you're giving the you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, basically, there was some conflict, and I was in the Carpe Diem Network Discord server at this time. There was a stage meeting that Deshaun and Amanda had, and this was before like all the shit with Ryan Riley and his ex happened. So when that all happened, like there was an argument, some stuff was happening. They basically were like distancing themselves, like taking a break from call. But basically around this time, and this was when things were really starting to like really get sour. But when it all happened, when all this happened, basically Trey brought Ryan into the MPW server, and I had no idea he was being brought in. But considering I was a moderator in the server at that time, I instantly saw Ryan's name, kicked him out immediately. And after all that, Trey just kicked me from the server, and they were pretty pissed. And this was where the fallout between the Carpe Diem Network and MPW started.
Okay.
And basically, after a while, basically, like, I gave, and Devin DM'd me, and I gave him the choice. I told him, I want you guys to make the decision, whether to keep me or to let me go.
Okay.
Devin gave me the choice. And he and Ray admitted that they did not want to let me go, but there were 3 people in that voting process that wanted me out. One of them was Maddie Sabin. And at the end of the day, I want to make very clear, I hold no ill will towards Maddie or any of
Maddie Sabin.
Yeah, she's part of the Carpe Diem Network. And
okay, is she wrestling for one a Trey or one of their specific shows?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
Wrestling Society X, I believe.
Oh, so she wrestles for Trey's bullshit ass show. And what's her name? What's his name again? I guess it's a guy. What name does he identify as?
Well, there's a whole plethora of them. There's Damian Shelley and Maddie Sabin.
Okay, what's the Jesus Christ? Trey and all of them always had like these shitty like ultra nicknames, unnecessary. But like, okay, so what does she go by now? You know, like
as far as I know, it's still Maddie, but I knew them as
okay.
Damian.
So Maddie from Trey's show. Okay, got you. You can continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Maddie was part of that voting process, and the one that basically I can definitely say I am not surprised in the slightest that they wanted me out, Jacob Serber.
Okay.
And the third and deciding vote was Trey.
Okay.
And after I found out that, I basically went to the Carpe Diem network and seemingly never looked back. And I want to make this very clear. Deshaun and them said that they had plans for me. And their new show that they're going to be starting, CNW, that I was going to be a part of that. I was not going to be part of the ROV in any way, shape, or form. That is until they threw me out and threw me on Consequential Muppets to kill off my character.
Okay.
And
so obviously they were playing CW politics, trying them. They were working together to sabotage your career. In MPW or in that network, in that Carpenter network?
in the Carpe Diem network, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And 2023.
Yes.
Okay. You ever try to confront Trey or any of them about it, or you just went off of?
Honestly, just like sort of just accepted the reality, and quite honestly, Deshaun has me blocked on practically everything. I haven't even bothered to confront him, and
that's childish.
And honestly, I'll say right now to him, he wants to talk all big, saying that if you have a problem with him, meet him in person. That is beyond selfish.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I'll say this right now, and I'm sure somebody's going to send this to Deshaun, and I want him to know. Deshaun, if you have a problem with people when it comes to doing this shit over the internet, I don't care how much you say you're too old for this shit. If it happened on the internet, deal with it on the internet. Hook, line, sinker, period.
Well, I can agree with him. If somebody has an issue with him, you want to get down. I mean, it's a lot of them that are just fucking childish as fuck. But if you're having issues call related, I don't think it should get to the point where y'all should meet in person and fight. I just think that's even more childish. If it's non-call related, in the case, you mentioned that fat fuck Trey. If it was real life related, my thing is, let's do this in real life. If it's personal, you know what I mean, personal things, not CAW related. CAW related, I mean, fuck that. We can all be friends. You know what I mean? That's how I look at that. I mean, if I had an argument with Corey Flash about his character or some shit like that, it'll be over in an hour. You know what I mean? But I understand where Sean is coming from with that incentive, but I guess it depends. You know what I mean? If he's gonna fight someone over a car argument, fuck, that's childish.
Fight him over a video game? Seriously, Deshaun?
Yeah, that's a little childish. If that's the case, if it is the case.
Yeah, and I just want to get this out there, and I want to basically say, if you are going to have drama over a fucking video game, it's pointless. It's selfish. It's childish. And that basically is the bottom line. We're tired. We're getting old. And yet it feels like we have and yet we work with people that have the mentality of a fucking child.
Right.
And quite honestly, I know that I don't really want to sound like CM Punk on that all-out press conference, but I mean, he wasn't telling any lies.
Yeah. But let's not put it on CM Punk. Let's keep it on you. You're speaking your mind right now. This is not about specifically anybody else. This is you telling your story of the experiences you went through. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing.
And I want to also make this very clear. And I want to basically say straight up to anyone over there in the Carpe Diem network, whether it's Bree, whether it's her friend Kayla, whether it's anyone that used to be here in MPW or over there in the Carpe Diem network. If you have a problem with me, my DMs are open. We can talk about it. We'll settle it that way. I want to make it well known that if you have a problem with me, take it up with me directly, and I will deal with it directly. Let's fucking go.
I love
Because
Even
I
even
can
better.
quite honestly say I am 25 years old. I'm going on 26 this August. I am not going to take any more of this COD drama and toxicity bullshit any fucking further. And I'm making it clear, if you have a problem with me, take it out with me personally. Don't go to anybody else.
And I'm making it clear that I don't have a problem with anyone, not even the people you've mentioned that have issues with me. You know, Nick is just on here speaking his mind. This is his point of view. If you have a different point of view, hit me up. Feel free to come on here. And I'm glad because I finally got my drink open, Shendon. So bottoms up while I listen to Nick. Go ahead, Nick. You got the free mic.
All right. So basically, like, after this with all the Carpe Diem Network drama, I was like, and I want to basically like get this out there because this was around the time that Ryan Riley was still around in call before all the shit that came out about him and his transgender ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever the fuck you guys want to call her. I don't give a shit.
And
But
that's not taking shots. That's public information. Let's just put that out there. Public information. You're not taking shots at anybody. That's information that went public.
And honestly, I want to basically make this clear. They call themselves DM Ivy, and I just want to know, like, if they're watching this, hi Ivy, how you doing? Wishing y'all the best and all that. But I want to basically make it clear. There's a lot of people that still kind of like semi-associate Ivy with all the stuff that happened with Ryan, and her
Why?
and Ryan are not even together anymore.
You know, I couldn't say nothing. I don't really know that individual like that. I had heard from the grapevine that there was people that were just I guess maybe she was on Ryan's side when it came out. Shendon, relax, Shendon, relax. You know, we're just we're talking about the story. We're talking about something that has happened in Carl. Chill out, relax. That's cool.
Yeah,
So
we'll get into all the other questions eventually. We'll get into all the other questions eventually.
We're talking. This pertains to Nick. We're still talking about Nick. The topic is still Nick KIKEN. He is still the star of the show. Okay, but we're talking about exchanges and different individuals that came across this story within call. Everybody that's been on the show has had the opportunity to do that. They can come on here, talk about matches, people they wrestle, people they known. So we're not doing anything we don't normally do here. Okay. So. For sure. I don't know all the story of what happened. I just know what accusations were put up there and whatnot, stuff that was said, and it's just it's really filthy. Let's not entirely go into it now. That's when I'm gonna put a blockage on that. We don't really have to go into that, but you can continue telling your story.
Talk about it because I want to basically
tell your story. Tell your story.
I want to get this out there, and I want to make it very well known. And considering Ivy was the owner of the Church of Sin Discord server where all this happened.
And Ivy, you talking about Ryan's boyfriend that identifies as a woman?
Yes.
Okay, but is it the same one? Because I remember his name was like Tris or some shit like that.
Yeah, they're now going by DM Ivy. Yeah, they're the same person. Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. Continue your story. Go ahead, I'm listening.
And I want to make this very clear. I hold no ill will towards Ivy for the decisions that they made with the whole Church of Sin thing. I want to basically say I knew I was in the wrong, and I am going to basically give you all a peek behind the curtain, tell you about these accusations, and debunk them.
What do you mean about the Church of Sin? What Church of Sin?
It was this. It was this NSFW roleplay Discord server.
Okay, I got you. I'm not surprised. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I got in there, and this was like around the time that when all the stuff between me and Jacob Serber was just starting to really sort of get to me. Like he was stirring up shit on social media, basically being like, "Oh, Nick KIKEN's this and that," and I'm an asshole, and Bree's basically a narcissist and all that, which I'm going to say right now, Jacob, yes, I will agree that Bree was a fucking narcissist. You can shut the fuck up and take your little gold star and fuck off to wherever universe mode fed you're a part of now. But less about him. So
yeah.
Basically, I got in there. I was like doing my thing in there, but then, and this was around the time before, like, God, I need to check my notes real quick. Let me see. Okay, it was June 27th when this happened.
Okay.
And this was around the time that a character that is now in SWW by the name of Monica Monroe, and I want to basically, in case anyone over there in the Virtual Wrestling Network see this, I want to make this very clear. Monica did nothing wrong, and quite honestly, I'll say right now, at the end of the day, she's guilty of some of the stuff that she accused me of, but I want there to be no changes. I don't want her to lose any opportunities. I just want her to keep doing what she does. And also, Monica, if you're listening to this, I want to reach out to you. I want to settle this whole thing as soon as possible. I have so many places I feel like I want to go to, but because of what happened between you and I quite honestly can't.
Okay.
And I want to basically say that I basically, this is really gonna sting, but I essentially kind of RAPE'd Monica. And I know how serious that is. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be like going absolutely at my throat about this. But I want to make it clear. I was not in a good mental state of mind. And that is where all of this immediately goes out the window. When you're not in a good mental and emotional state of mind, you do things that you don't entirely mean to do. And that's exactly what Bree, the Carpe Diem Network, Monica, and all them failed to understand. But at the end of the day, I will say this. While they did exile me and I lost a year off of my cause career, I'm absolutely thankful because it gave me the chance to start to figure out my character a lot more, start to work a little bit more on my promo work and all that. It gave me the chance to actually start to, basically start to find myself.
Right.
But I want to basically make it clear. And I also want to debunk a lot of things, basically say what's true and what's not. Yes, I did do that to Monica. No, I can definitely say that at the end of the day, I don't regret it. I deeply regret it. And I want Monica to know that. She should have never been put in that position. But at the same time, you should have communicated a little better, Monica. And I think, quite honestly, if you communicate a little better, all of this probably would have never happened. But at the end of the day, I feel like if I just never got into the Carpe Diem Network, I probably wouldn't have had this happen, period. But, I mean, while I am ashamed of a lot of the things that happened, I'm not going to lie. I'm not fond of a lot of things either. But at the end of the day, what happened, happened. And I just have to live with that, atone for that, and all that other stuff. But at the end...
And is Monica also a man with the way these stories have gone, or is it a woman? I believe you. Keep going.
So basically,
I believe you.
After all that, I mean, now the accusations that came out from Monica were, and this is the part where she basically, I am immediately going to say I can debunk this and I have proof of it, but I'm not going to show this and put it out there on social media for everyone to see because I'm not that kind of person. And quite honestly, I want Monica to know. And I am even going to say this right now. I even can say that I looked at Monica's entire Twitter history, and there is no mention of what happened in the Church of Sin between me and her. Absolutely zero. So I'm going to say that I feel like at the end of the day, she realized just how much she did on her side of things was wrong more than anyone else. And she kept that stuff as a close guarded secret and didn't make public to anyone on Twitter. And I honestly can say that, Monica, if you did this to basically save the integrity of yourself as well as mine, I respect you for that. But at the end of the day, we should have just like talked this out, hashed it all out, like probably back in 2024. We should have just sat down, talked it out, and made amends and all that other stuff. I would have apologized. I really would have.
Right.
And whether she believed it or not, whether she accepted it, whether she buried all this, that's entirely on her. I don't know what goes on in her head. I don't know what goes on in Deshaun's head. I don't know what goes on in Bree's head. Quite frankly, I don't know what goes on in anybody's head. I know what goes on in me, myself, and I's head. And
Right.
I am going to say right now that, Monica, I love what you're doing in SWW right now. And I hope that when this podcast comes out and if it gets put out to the public, I want to make it very clear. I don't want them to take away all those opportunities from you. I don't want you to lose any of them because of me. All I want you to do is just be able to one day sit down, talk this shit out, and just bury the hatchet, basically.
As it should be. Everybody in call should be trying to bury the hatchet. I mean, we're getting too old for all this shit, you know.
Exactly. I mean, we're not going to get to heaven if we're just going to keep bitching and moaning at certain people, right?
Well, we got you on here being able to speak your mind. You wanted to speak your mind. We're providing you that platform, but we're not on here to make it our mission to bash anyone. We're simply on here giving him airtime and letting him speak how he wants to speak.
And of course,
I'm just making it clear to them. I'm not even speaking to you, Nick, you know, and just so people understand, you know what I mean? Because I'm seeing different comments popping up, you know, and I want
I just
people
saw Shendon's most recent comment, and Shendon, you're gonna have to stay till the end. You might find out that the answer to that question very shortly.
He's getting the opportunity to say things he's been wanting to say, and I'm trying to give him the opportunity. So I will continue to allow you to say more of what you want to say. What else do you want to say?
Okay, so basically, like, to kind of like fill in the timeline. So basically, Monica basically made Bree and all of them believe the false pretense that I did this to them when they were underage, basically a minor. Like, seriously, why are you trying to make me literally a dollar store version of Ryan Riley, Monica? Why?
Whoa, wait a minute. So hold on now. We talking about something deranged here. So they're accusing you of talking to them inappropriately when they was underage. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm gonna just say this right now. I had the evidence to prove that they were not a minor, straight up.
But I mean, you were talking to people, and you're saying
absolutely not, absolutely not. I would never do anything like that.
But I mean, you was obviously talking to people sexually, is what you're saying, but they weren't underage.
Yes, they were not underage, but I am going to confirm that there were some stuff that I said that were sexual, and I'm going to say right now, I'm going to throw up my hand and say that was my B.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever you said sexual, we don't care about. It's nobody's business, you know what I mean? Exactly. But if there was conversations with people that, you know, were minors and stuff like that, we have an issue here that needs to be corrected. You know what I'm saying? Because you're on here live talking about this stuff, and you're definitely going to have to correct it with me, because I don't like pedophiles. I don't think you're a pedophile. You know what I mean? Obviously, you mentioned that other individual who I guess is an open pedophile, you know, with what he told that kid from the screenshot I saw and from what people have said about him. You know what I mean? But
yeah, we all know who it is.
What screenshots do you have to back that up? And when did they accuse you of this? You said in 23.
Yeah, this was around like late 23. Like, this was like around like late August of 23.
And who were these people in question? Who were these people once again?
Well, it consisted of Monica and also Bree basically got wind of it, and that's how me and her fell out.
Okay. Okay. And all these people identify as transgender or what?
No, Monica, she was a full-blown woman. Bree's the one that's trans. And of course,
Okay.
Trish Riley at the time, yeah. But
Okay.
I
So
will say this.
you was talking to Tris like that too?
She came on to me, not the other way around.
Oh, okay. Got you. Got you. And this was pre Ryan or post Ryan or
This
mid
was
Ryan?
this was like pre-Ryan. Like Ryan was still like with her,
Okay.
but
No,
me and her
if he was
basically,
with her, if he was with him, it wasn't pre. It was during.
yeah.
Okay. So you were
So
a bit of a home wrecker. But
well,
not that it's that's
I think
none of our business. It's none of our business. None of our
yeah. Well,
business at
I can
all.
definitely say I think the fallout between Tris and Ryan started a little bit before all the stuff that me and Tris were doing through Discord DMs. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a home wrecker, but all I can say is if this does somehow, some way get out there to Ryan, I want to basically make it very clear. Sorry I stole your then girl, but at the end of the day, just kind of sort of done it to yourself, buddy.
That ain't no girl, but I hear you. Okay, so
But
damn,
anyways, kind of.
I had a question and I think it just slipped my mind now. So I mean, we could pretty much start moving along. I don't see anything
Well, I mean,
of importance.
I want to basically say right now,
Yeah, go ahead.
the evidence that I have about Monica, I actually, out of sheer coincidence, I was just on Instagram looking through some stuff, and then was just out of sheer curiosity popping onto Bree's personal Instagram, which she has me blocked. And quite honestly, I hope and pray to God that after this, if she somehow gets a hold of it, that she doesn't immediately go and block me. But I saw a screenshot, got a screenshot of a post that Monica made on her Instagram, which is, I found her Instagram through Bree's Instagram. And considering her character is and gimmick is essentially a succubus.
Yeah.
There was a post that she had on her page that said "suck you biting since 1996," and I want everyone to just take a minute to soak that all in. This girl that accused me of speaking these ways and doing these things to her at the age that she clearly wasn't is 3 years older than me. 3. I just want to let that soak into everyone real quick.
No, I got you completely. I think if there's nothing else to add, I think we can move along from that. I want to talk to you about
anyways,
MPW.
but I can definitely say, like, at the end of the day, with the whole church of sin bullshit, I am ashamed of it, and not fond of it. But what happened. I basically kind of just like made peace with myself, atoned for it the best that I can. But at the end of the day, I can't really so much as atone for it and bury the whole thing without the people that I hurt through the whole thing basically reaching out or give me the chance to reach out. And
Right.
I definitely can say, like, I'll make this very clear to Monica. My DMs are open if you just want to sit down, talk about it, and all that other stuff. And I'm basically giving her free reign to basically say that if she wants to yell and scream at me, I'll sit there and listen. But if I get emotional, I want that to tell her that I deeply regret what I did. And I still do. I still regret it. And I want her to know that.
I
But
think it's always
I can definitely say that considering Ivy, Tris Riley at that time, she was the server owner. After all that stuff between me and Monica happened, she kicked me out of the server. And I can say, in all honesty, she did the right thing. And that's why I say, at the end of the day, I have no ill will against her, and I will harbor no hard feelings for her or any sort of hate for her for that decision. from this moment forward, even further than that. And even back then, like when she basically like accepted my PlayStation friend request and then followed me back on Twitter, that basically told me that she doesn't have any hard feelings against me whatsoever.
Right.
And I respect that. But anyways, like we finally like got aired the grievances out with that whole thing. But I just want to basically make it clear.
Okay.
There is more to this story than you all think. Like the whole rape fantasies thing, sure. I'm going to basically say right now, I only had a lucid dream one time, never again. And that was the end of that whole thing. Anything else that I said, I am debunking right now and saying that it didn't happen. It's not true. And I want these people that believe that shit to know that.
Okay. All
Anyways.
Right. And if anybody that's listening that has an issue with anything he said, has their story to share, you know, like I said, we'll be happy to have you on here, and Nick, I'm sure will be happy to come back and defend himself against whatever you have to say. I'm listening to him. I want to give him the opportunity to continue to say and air out what he wants to say out, and I want to talk to him about MPW in a little bit whenever he's ready. So I'll say that.
Well, basically after I was exiled, and this also pertains to Jacob Serber, because after he found out I was exiled, he really started to double, triple, and quadruple down. And yes, Conscious, I definitely can say you are absolutely right. Sometimes being the bigger man is overwhelming. And yeah, I certainly can say I was overwhelmed, but basically back on top. So Jacob took it upon himself after I got basically exiled from CAW for a year to basically rub his hands clean of me and just like drag my name through the mud and bury me. And what he did that really left a sour taste in my mouth was he takes my CAW kids and claims them as his. Didn't even change the first name or anything. Just took the kids, made them his own, basically poorly edited the things. And honestly, it pisses me off, and it still pisses me off. I literally had to revamp Ruby's entire look, keep Tyson and Fantasia the same, only change them up in a few certain areas, because this little turd that I helped bring into CAW, bring into MPW, goes behind my back and does this. Because of what? What did I do to him, huh? Kevin, tell me, what did I do to him?
And what's his ring name again? Jacob what?
Jacob Serber. But
okay,
yeah, I
Jacob
know, like, what did I do to him? What did I do to him to make him do this? And you want to know what I did?
Man,
I didn't do a goddamn thing.
He took all your character. That's some crazy shit.
Yeah, he even tried taking my fucking CAW wife and making her into something completely different. But yeah, at the end of the day, Jacob, I know you're listening to this, buddy, and I'm sure you probably are. But thanks for the idea with the fire roses tights, you fucking mark.
Oh man. Wow.
But yeah, basically now I got the kids back. I revamped the ever living piss out of them. I was working on Fantasia on 25 before we all hopped on in here, but I can definitely say you all are going to be in for a treat when you see what Fantasia looks like in 25. And I want to make this very clear that this is in no way, shape, or form meaning to take a shot at really anybody. It's all because Devin basically said that Fantasia looks like a dollar store version of Bree George. And Devin, I want to basically make it clear that if you are watching this in any way, shape, or form, I want you to know this is your fault, bud. This is your fault. Oh, and speak of the devil, look who pops up. There's Devin.
Hey, I want to make something well understood because I'm Kevin Impact. and I don't give a damn about what anybody thinks. I respect everything you're saying in terms of telling your story. Um, all these obvious gay dudes that we're talking about. I got gay people in JTV. I got a lot of love. You know,
Oh yeah, speaking of
for
which, a little peek behind the curtain. There is going to be a gay-related storyline I'm going to do with one of my characters, but I'm not going to get into any spoilers.
I don't have one problem with that. I don't have one single problem with that at all. I have gay people that are friends of mine, close friends of mine that I love to death. Okay, loved them with a big L. But the whole, what I'm saying, calling someone by a different gender than what they are, that shit just, I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've been accused time and time again of being like a homophobe or transphobe, whatever. Maybe I'm a
Tell me
transphobe,
about it.
but I'm definitely not a homophobe. That's for sure, for sure. You know what I mean? So we gotta do better. You know what I mean? We have to do better. There's
we
a
need to
lot
do
of
better, and these people need to do better.
absolutely. There's an epidemic going on in CAW. If you're gay, you're gay. I mean, who gives a damn? That's your fucking business. If that's how you want to be, more power to you. If that's how you choose to live your life, I'm not gonna hate on you, but don't come in here. What I'm saying, trying to push that fucking narrative of, oh, I identify as a teenage mutant ninja turtle. I'm not trying to hear none of that. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not trying to run into Corey Flash and he be on some, I identify as Jessica Rabbit and shit. All right, Corey Flash, shut your goddamn mouth. So
He's a mark, let's be honest.
all respect, and still, even though I disagree with it, all respects in the world to anyone, how they want to view themselves, how they want to live, how they want to, that's your opinion. That's how you want to view yourself, how you want to be identified. But that shit hits the backboard instantly. Some of the things you said have been interesting. I'm still listening. I'm ready to talk to you about MPW when you're ready. So let me know when you're ready, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say right now, Devin, that when I do show off what Fantasia looks like in 25, I want you to know something at the end of the day. You were the one that put the idea in my head. And quite honestly, I'm going to say it now. It's both a blessing and a curse in hindsight, but I don't give a shit. I'm doing it anyways.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bust the coconut open since I'm Cuban, Papa. You know what I mean? So, what I'm saying, you're pretty much out, right, Nick? That's what we're discussing here. You're pretty much out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, that's fine. That's completely good. I want you to know personally, that I have no problem with you and I have no problem with that. And I want you to know that. Okay? I
know
accept
Ray and
you.
them don't have any problems with me, but I definitely can say there's some stuff that I said that kind of got under their skin. And I want them to know that this day was coming, and I am glad that now I'm able to get it all off my chest. And
beautiful. I'm beautiful. If you play for both teams, I have no problem with it. I want you to know that. The one thing I am going to have to do is pass you the mic because one of my alarms is going off in the back, so I got to turn it off. So take the mic and keep doing your talking. Go ahead, Nick.
All right. So basically, I just want to make this point clear that I want to just tell everyone here in the chat that's watching this that if there's anything that I've said, whether to any of you all that have been like in Discord calls with me, heard about all the stuff that I've been running my mouth with, whether it be about like my experiences with the Carpe Diem Network, Bree, and all them, I want you guys to know that now on this podcast, I'm probably going to be speaking about it a little less, if really any more whatsoever after all that. So I just want you guys to know that if I do mention it every now and again, I want you guys to know that at the end of the day, I'm just trying to basically heal from everything that happened. And I know Ray and I know Devin, I know Solvi, Mark, and Colin. I know you guys are probably all listening to this right now because I know you are. And I want you guys to know that because I don't want to basically like sour the relations with you guys more than I did once before. Some of you guys I've just now started to really like plant my feet and really get to know you. I mean, Ray and Devin, I've known these guys since my first run in MPW, and we'll get into all that stuff in just a minute. But one thing I want to make clear is I want no hard feelings to be given after this podcast ends, and I want you all to know I love y'all. I respect you all. Keep doing what you're doing, and just God bless, really.
Very nice. Are you ready to talk about MPW?
Yeah, I think I said as much as I said about like the whole situation. Let's get into that.
Do you feel better now that you've aired out a lot of what you wanted to say publicly to the world?
Oh my God. Like, I feel like a weight's just been lifted off my shoulders. Like,
Okay.
It felt like I literally had two swords in my chest and I just yanked both of them out. And now I'm wielding them and I'm ready to hack and slash at anybody.
Well, I mean, I think the entire CAW world is definitely going to be talking about this podcast for sure. But let's go ahead and continue talking
Whether
about
negative
MPW.
or positive, I don't really care.
I mean, it's going to be.
Yeah, all I can say is I'm probably just going to be like, kicking it back, probably Sonic the Hedgehog style, and just basically just like sipping on
There
the
you
sip
go.
and just watching the rumbling happen. I'm not going to say
there you go doing it. You did it. We talked about it off the show. You said it. You finally said it. Very good. Very good.
And I just want to make this clear, Kevin. And basically, if they're just like basically trying to get me to just like say something, I'm not going to say a damn word. And I want them to know that right now. If they're going to try to like stir the pot and get me to say something, and if I get them saying something, I want them to know right now, by you basically spreading any negativity that comes out of this podcast when it's basically out to the public, I want you guys to know that if you start saying anything negative or basically talking about it in like a positive manner, I basically make it clear I've already won.
Well, you put it out there, and I like to invite you back if you have something else to say. If they do have something to say, and I like to invite them if they want to come on. But I think you said a lot of good points. You got a lot of good things out there, and I am proud of you for being your real self.
Yeah, and I want them to know I have no hard feelings towards anyone, whether they did me dirty or whether they didn't. I just want to make it clear that if you actually show that you're willing to be better to me and I say that I will be better to you, then we can possibly in some way, shape, or form sort of like mend the fences, bury the hatchet, that whole sort of thing. But I will say right now, there is one simple person that I am not going to ever bury the hatchet with and make amends with, and that's Jacob Serber. And I basically can say right now, Ray knows very well why that reason is, and he's got his own reasons for why he has Jacob Serber blacklisted. He's not going to work with him ever again, even despite the fact that I almost wanted to just like bring Jacob's character back just to do a storyline, basically end that whole saga with him and just like move on from it. But I can understand at the end of the day, as a eFed showrunner, I can understand why Ray does not want to do it because he doesn't want all the negativity that would come out of it, and I can understand that.
Well, we definitely got to talk to Ray. Ray needs to come on here and tell us his side of that story.
Trust me, I'm sure he's got a lot to say, but there's a lot that I can certainly say he and Devin both can provide insight in, and I guess we might as well basically get to the whole saga that was Jacob Serber's second run in MPW.
Right.
So basically,
but I mean, Jacob was your partner for a little bit, man. You know what I mean? It just seems
me and him won the Twin Star Tag Team titles together, and then basically after
I don't
all that,
assume.
it just never happened. It just like was swept under the rug.
I don't want to assume because I don't know Jacob personally. Jacob has not wrestled for me. We have not worked together in any capacity, but based off of your story,
in all honesty, be glad that you haven't. And I want this to be made clear to everyone else in the chat. If you ever work with Jacob Serber, I'm going to say right now, he will lie, he will backstab, and once he does, I will not hold anything against you if you distance yourself from him right on the spot. But I will say this, if he puts my name in your all's mouth, in his mouth, you guys got, if you were to work with him, you guys got my freaking consent to go off on him.
Damn, you might be the first guest that I just let you cut me off like a motherfucker, because you've been cutting me off like crazy, and I've had a signature store for your monkey ass for a little bit, Nick. But I want you to cut me off because you're saying interesting things that I find interesting. So I want you to. But in the same thing that you're saying, based off of what you're saying, I don't want you to go into an entire new story because I'm ready to talk about MPW. But
yeah,
it just seems like, based off of your information, it just seems like Jacob is a fucking rat, and he be riding
indeed
people's
he is. And he's a
coattails.
fucking stalker too.
That's what it seems like. I'm not saying he is. It's just what it seems like based off of your information. But let's move on to MPW, man. Let's talk about it. Shandon and some of the boys want to hear
Kevin, shut up with that whole okay Seth Rollins nonsense.
All right, let's talk about wrestling, man. You know, let's do this thing. We've already dropped our pipe bomb. We are 2 hours and 5 minutes into the show. These guys want to talk about professional wrestling. Let's have some fun here. You know what I mean? Are you ready?
I already got enough out. Let's do this thing.
All right, brother. All right, let's do this. So you come into MPW. How do you and Ray hit it off?
Basically, me and him, we were both within the movement server. He saw something in me that I quite honestly can say I feel like a good majority of people in the movement at that time didn't really have the balls to see. But at the end of the day, I can say Ray was the first person that really reached out and actually wanted me to be a part of something bigger. And of course, Ray, I know you're in here, and quite honestly, God bless you for that opportunity. I am still grateful to this day.
Very nice. I like that. So you and him got along instantly.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I have autism and ADHD. Ray's got autism and a plethora of other mental disabilities like myself, and me and him just like hit it off like almost instantly because of that connection.
Well, I mean, y'all having health issues doesn't really mean anything. That don't mean nothing. That don't make you less of a human being. You know what I mean? But the fact that y'all have it brought a connection with y'all, which I think is pretty fucking dope. Props for that. So y'all hit it off. He offered you a deal. I guess I got to bring him on here, ask him about your signing to get his side. When he signs you to a deal, I believe you said
when he first reached out, I told him keep the door open for me because because when he first reached out, this was like before the FAM Royal Rumble. But after the Rumble and all the fallout with the Traverse Elite between me and Jacob and Bree, that's when I decided to reach out to him again and ask him if that offer was still on the table. And he said yes. I got him into a call. Me and him talked. I brought Jacob in. And quite honestly, to this day, I can definitely say if I never brought Jacob in to call Full Tilt, a lot of the shit that happened probably would have never happened. But quite honestly, at the end of the day, I'm so grateful for it.
Okay, I want to put my job on the line real quick because I'm Kevin Impact and I don't give a damn. I want to let my bosses, Shendon and Chris Conscience, know real quick that I lied. I said I was going to have a script for this show, but I don't. But I still got a million questions on my mind. LOL, lick my lips. I got a million questions for you, kid. I don't know if we're going to have time to answer all my questions, but man,
we'll
shit.
As many as we can.
As many as we can, and we'll take questions for sure. But the thing is, okay, let's talk about MPW. So you come into MPW. Who does Ray fit you against first? Who is your first MPW opponent?
Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one because I made my debut at his first ever Wrestle Fandom, and let's just say the person I was up against, he got into a lot of hot water with his own Kosh show, and
really
and that man is under the name Grim Cadillac. Bury this dude with a simple Snapdragon suplex.
Oh, not that fucking jabroni. God damn it. Grim, come on, man. Grim Cadillac. That's one of the biggest trolls in the history of Call, man. Damn, that was your first MPW opponent. Ray put you up against him?
Yeah, and I hit this dude with my signature. Well, my finisher. He kicked out, and then I throw him off the ropes, hit him with a Snapdragon suplex. 1, 2, 3. Adios, Grim. Take that 1-0 forever.
Yeah. Yeah, Grim Cadillac is a fucking online noob. He's he uses modded controllers and whatnot. You know what I mean? I know that for a fact. Yeah, I'm not just assuming that. That for a fact, I know people that, I'm not going to say their names, but I know that there's people that know for sure that he's used modded controllers. Grim Cadillac was up in the high ranks of the 2K rankings for the match rankings. I don't do none of that bullshit. Shendon and them do all that, the league people, but I've seen Grim's name on the top ranks of the SVR or the 2K online ranks, whatever the hell it is. And the only reason he was up there, he was using modded controllers and just fucking beating people like nothing. You know what I mean? I would not recommend anyone to sign him to their roster. As a matter of fact, an executive, which I will not name, attempted to bring this individual back into JTV because he tried to sign with us some years ago. There was some other idiot that was trying to bring him to JTV years ago, and I didn't like him. And then we had arguments, and I'm like, I don't like this motherfucker. And you know, like how you said about Sean earlier, I kind of want to beat the shit out of him in real life. I'm not saying I'm trying to fight this dude. I'm just saying I don't like him. And, you know, if he listens to this, I really don't give a fuck. But I just don't like him. I did not like him at the time. Fast forward years later, an executive came to me and said, we should pick this guy up. He was friends with someone else in JTV. And I said no. And then, you know, the idea was continuously brought to me. We should sign him. We should give him a shot. If we brought this person back, that person. So when I went ahead and gave this person an individual, I made it well understood it wasn't going to work, but I'll try because that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to give you a second chance if you can improve and be a better person. You know what I mean?
And I can certainly say, Kevin, that what I ended up finding out about his show is apparently somehow, some way, he managed to clone the voices of people that left his show if he actually was still doing something with them. And that's kind of where a lot of the drama kind of started with his show. And of course,
well, I'll give you an opportunity to dip into that a little bit, put your toe into that a little bit. But for me, it's like that second time when they tried to bring him to JTV, I didn't want to do it, but executives were pushing it on me, and we tried, and he had sort of like a trial match. It was like a dark match. And I think he had work with, I don't know if it was Shendon, Dallas, Goldman, or whoever. He worked with someone, and I got sent the tape. And what we asked him to do was just to meet with us or something like that. And he wanted to try to give us fucking attitude or whatnot. And then after that, he, you know, and then we just kicked him to the curb, and that was just the end of it. But I never liked Grim Cadillac. He was just really toxic, really weird, and just kind of toxic. I don't know the individual personally, but in terms of CAW and doing business with him, he's just not someone you want to bring into your roster. I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of two more people that Ray knows, but I'm not going to mention them. You know what I mean?
Well, I know I may have an idea of who you're talking about, but I want to basically say right now, after I beat Grim, fucker walked away from MPW, never to be seen again. I beat this dude and made him walk out the next day. And
I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, all I could say is, hold that L forever, Grim. I am not sorry. All right. Anyways.
Well, I believe it or not, I'm very passionate about professional wrestling, CAW. So even people that I've had issues with and people that have issues with me, I still kind of want to see them be successful. And even though there's people like some of the people we talked about, I still kind of want to see them be successful because I love CAW. That's the love of my life. You know what I'm saying? And it means a lot to me, and I love CW so much that I would never want to hurt it. So I try to do the very best that I can not to hurt it. But when individuals lie about me or there's issues, I got to say what I got to say, just like you did today, sir. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So with Graham Cadillac, like, don't like him. I could tell you that straight up. I'm pretty sure I'll tell him straight to his fucking face that I don't like him. I don't want to be an internet warrior. You know what I mean? But I still, believe it or not, and y'all may hate me, but I still wish him the best. I wish him the best because I hope he becomes a better person. I really hope so.
Yeah, same here.
The two people that, I mean, there was someone in MPW that reached out to me that wanted to sign when me and Ray was having issues, and it almost happened, but this person was weird. Devin know who I'm talking about, starts with an A. And then there was someone else that, you know, supposedly was my friend, that was Ray's friend, that wanted to have his opinion. And I never went and trashed this person on this channel or anything. This person has some interesting things to say about Kevin Impact. And that person's name starts with a K. And Ray and Devin know who I'm talking about. Weird individual. I had a lot of love for him. I was ready to work with him in creative and JTV, long story short. And, you know, in CW, you just have those characters. You know what I mean? You had those
and
characters.
I can certainly say there is one certain character, I am just going to throw this out there, that I am glad I never met. But quite honestly, he's the reason why a lot of hate is garnered towards Ray. And basically, like they're saying, like, Ray's a racist. And I'm
Really?
not gonna bother saying his name because, quite honestly, the fucker knows who he is, and he's an even bigger racist than Ray is.
Well, I could tell you this. I could tell you I've been around Ray since 2016. He ain't a racist because his right hand man is Devin. Devin is a proud, excellent, talented, smart black man. Okay.
Exactly.
So is Ray a racist?
And Ray's got Native American and a lot of
Exactly.
other things.
He's native.
So
He got
he
a
can
bunch of
get
shit in
away
him.
with this, people. He can get away with this. Hello. He can get away with it. Ray can get away with saying the N-word.
I say the N-word all the time, but I don't say the ER. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
I
what
say
everyone accused Ray of.
no. And I heard, and you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I heard about that story a while back and I laughed it off because I'm like, look, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but in case y'all don't know this, let me specify this. I'm Cuban Puerto Rican. I'm not a white man. If y'all was thinking Kevin Impact was a white boy, I am not. Okay. I'm Hispanic, okay, Papa? You know what I'm saying? I'm from the ghetto, Kevin Impact all the way through Cuban, Spanish, and I stand proud behind it, which if I'm Cuban, it makes me half African, and if I'm Puerto Rican, it makes me half native. So I'm with Ray and Burke Lawson and Shadow Ray X. I'm with him all the way. And I'm with Devin too. You know what I'm saying? Devin is my brother because he's dark skinned. The dark skin is my family. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, when you really think about it, we're all family. I really want to say this next part. If you really think about it, racism is fucking dumb. Racism is like going to the ATM and not signing out. You know what I'm saying? And then the next person comes in and just takes out all your fucking money. That's what racism is. And I'll tell you why. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove to you that racism is dumb right here, right now. And we'll make fucking world peace. Racism, okay? When you let's God bless our beautiful animals of the earth. When you look at a cat, and I've told Chris Conscience this a few times, and Shandon and all of them, and No Kills. When you look at a cat, right? Nobody says, "Oh, it's a black cat, it's a white cat, it's a cat with brown, it's a yellow." Nobody says that. It's just a cat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But for some particular reason, if someone of color is like in the elevator, oh, you know, there's, you know, a black man or this and that. Why does it have to be that adjective or whatnot? You know, why do you have to include that when we all bleed the same red? All of us. It don't matter what skin tone you are. You know what I'm saying? You had that fucking idiot Billy Ray Dog came on here and said dropped the hard R 2 times. That fucking idiot's family is just brainwashed, just like him. You know what I mean? Fuck him.
Honestly, I would have been surprised if he did it 3 times.
Yeah, nah, he dropped it 2 times and then I had to take the show down. They all remember that shit. I don't give a damn. I say whatever the fuck I want to. This is my show, okay? Frankly, and if you two don't like it, take the fucking video down. I don't care. But look, we're gonna talk some real shit on this channel. We're gonna speak the truth. Real shit that nobody will talk about. We talk about. Racism is bullshit. Because when
Yeah,
you think about it, every single human being bleeds red. You see what
yep,
I did there? And nobody says, oh, you got this colored cat, that colored cat. Nobody says that. But when you see a human being, you notice it. Why do you not notice it when you see the fucking cat, but you notice it when you see humankind? There is no such thing as black, white, this and that. It's humankind. We're all the same. We just look different. How is it
exactly.
that we notice height? Oh, this person's tall, this person's short, this person's fat, this person's skinny. We don't really notice that too much of the time. It's just more like a fucking like people judge that like, oh, if you're short or fat, they want to judge you. Who the fuck are you to judge anybody? Get to know someone before you fucking judge them. You know what I mean? And then second, when it comes to race and skin tone, like how do you do that when we all bleed the same red? You understand what I'm saying? So it's fucking dumb.
Absolutely.
So then think about this because I'm about to blow your fucking brains out, Nick, KIKEN. Okay, you have a situation where you take me for example, Cuban, Puerto Rican. I'm light skinned. I'm not dark, but I'm light skinned. I got a little bit of a darkish in my eye. My brother's dark. My other brother's a little bit light like me, right? And you have a situation where my grandmother was dark. See, there was a lot of racism in Cuba. God bless her. She taught me so much. I'm not going to go into it. Love her. And I'm sorry that it may seem like I'm making this about me, but I'm really making a point real quick because you brought up an interesting topic, and I'll be as quick as I can with this. But the thing is, you think about it, man. Everybody bleeds the same red. Okay, you take Italians. Italians speak a form of Spanish, Nick. They
Exactly.
speak like a broken Spanglish. And and then that shout out to Axel if he's still watching, you know what I'm saying? Because he's Italian, living in Spain. I love Spain. Been to Spain, had great food there. My people are in Spain. So he's my people. Devin is my people. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
everybody's my people. Even Shendon is my people because even the Kuwaitis, we still working within each other. You know what I'm saying? So when you really think about it, every single person of every race, we all working within each other. It's the same fucking thing. We just look different. So I many years ago I stopped looking at race. I don't see all that no more. I don't see white, black, Spanish. I don't see none of that no more. I just see people. I see racist people, but I also see regular people.
Hmm.
So I don't understand why would they think that way. I'm going on a fucking pedestal. Fuck every single fucking person that's saying that Ray was a fucking racist because he is not a racist. Ray has never been racist to me. Ray has never been racist that I know of to Devin or to anyone in JTV. Ray's been everybody's fucking friend. So Kevin Impact is calling bullshit on that.
Yeah. And
Period.
all I can say is, suck a dick, Iceman. We just proved you wrong, bud.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We're breaking the rules here. We're breaking the form. That man said Iceman. I've talked to Iceman a few times. I haven't done no business with Iceman. I've talked to people who have had issues with Iceman. I've heard stories about Iceman, but I don't know enough. Unless I do business with him personally, get to know the guy personally, I don't know. If he's a pedophile or some shit, you know, I'm not gonna go on here and say I beat the shit out of him. But if I see him in person, I don't know. And that's not a threat. That's just me saying I don't like pedophiles. You know what I mean?
Nobody does, honestly.
But I've heard stories of a few people and a few people that are linked to Iceman. I didn't know you knew Iceman, but
Oh,
yeah,
I'm not
I
saying
know.
I knew him. I just know about him.
You know about him. I know about him too. You know what I mean? I know about him too. And the comment section, I think, might be going crazy. Let me see a little bit. We got cheese and shit. Man, we got 11 people watching. Smash the like button, baby. But if you're gonna watch City of Impact, listen to it, bro. You're gonna hear the truth. You know what I mean? And that's what makes
Damn
me
right.
laugh. I'm gonna stop after this and go back to you, Nick. I apologize to you, man to man. But
Hey,
one
we
more
got to
thing
get it
I'll
out there.
say. We do, but I don't like to do it because this is your show. You know what I mean? You got your grievance out, but it is my show too. So to be fair to me, for all the people that have said shit about me, man, like it's always in the shadows. You know what I mean? Like come on here. Come on, City of Impact. If you got some, as a matter of fact, anybody that has an issue with Kevin Impact, come on, City of Impact. You got something to say? I would love to hear it. Argue with me. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a pussy ass bitch and go on some other chat and tell somebody else and make shit up because you know you can't prove it because you're full of shit. Because I've been a fucking sweetheart to every single person. If I ever had to step toes on anybody, it's someone that deserved it. You know what I'm saying? I've never fucking come at anyone like for any fucking reason. And I'm gonna say one more other thing just to make this comment section go fucking bananas. I'm gonna say one thing that's gonna drive JTV crazy, and then I'm gonna pass you the mic, and we're gonna keep talking about Ray and MPW.
Right.
For anyone that has reach and has access to one Draskell, maybe it's time he should talk to me. Maybe it's time that he should grow some nuts. I understand he has a vagina between his legs, but if he's man enough to hit me up, I know he doesn't have me blocked. It's about time, Papa. It's about time we grow the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? You got brainwashed by another baby dick idiot, you know, who used to write for me and whatnot. I'm sorry, Shendon, but I'm Kevin Impact. I say what I want. Shendon's be like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm sorry, Conscious, everybody. I say whatever I want. I do whatever I want. I am not fucking PG. I'm about the heart and I'm about love.
Damn right.
I am open, just like I mentioned AJ Jenkins on one of the other shows. And I understand you might not know these people, Nick, but these are JTV people. If Draskell, you know what I'm saying, has the cojones to talk to me like a man, I mean, the inbox is open, man. You know what I'm saying? You should come on here and tell your story. You know what I mean? If I was so controlling and so toxic and so negative, come on, City of Impact. You're invited. The super athlete, the former world heavyweight champion of JTV, Draskell. Nix, Marcus, I know that's your boy. Let him know. He want to come on here, tell his story, talk about, you know, try to find a way to make stories of how I was toxic. He's invited here if he wants to come on here. And anybody else that has the cojones to come on here. You know what I mean? Even people I have issues with and had issues with me. You know what I'm saying? You're invited. So with that being said, let's move on past that. And let's go back to you, Nick. Yeah. MPW. We are 2 hours, 26 minutes in. We're talking about Nick KIKEN. Nick KIKEN is joining us. It's been an excellent podcast thus far. This has been everything that I expected it to be. When you're doing business with Ray, okay, you got to work with, you said you got to work with Grim Cadillac.
Yeah, and basically made his ass walk out to Wrestle Fandom.
I mean, the same thing happened with that other, you know, childish fucking. Well, I don't know if they're working with them anymore, but let's just say I had a bad experience with someone in MPW, and I'm sorry, Ray. You know, I'm probably going to hear it after this, but I had a bad experience with. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Shendon would know who I'm talking about. If you know who I'm talking about, Shendon, post it in the comment. I can't remember his name, bro. Dude who was in JTV, he just left. Oh, Draven, yeah, fucking Draven. I'm not gonna go into that too much because this is about you, but you know, let's just move on. I don't need to talk about him, but you know, it is what it is. We'll talk about this some other time. So you had your experience with Grim Cadillac. Did that rub you the wrong way coming into MPW? Are you having negative thoughts? Or you just being positive, or what?
Nah, I just basically just at the end of the day, just basically said, "Oh well, it is what it is."
I mean, it's business at the end of the day. You know,
Yep,
it's business. I understand where you're getting at. You know, business has to be conducted and whatnot. At the end of the day, I'm a company guy too, so I'm just like willing to work with whatever. But I hear you. So a bad experience. What all else went on? I mean, you're still in MPW, no?
I was still in MPW at this time. Yes. So
are you still in MPW?
Well, I was in. Yeah, I'm back in MPW, but this was back in my first run that we're talking about.
Well, I mean, we talking about Grim Cadillac in your first match, and you said this was circa 2023, no?
Yeah, this was
Okay,
my first run. Yeah.
so in MPW, who else do you went on to wrestle in the ring, PvP wise, or whatnot, or what else went on?
Whew. Well, I do know that I was facing Devin's Caw family. Well, not really his Caw family, more so his real family. They just are like in Caw version. There was the House of Armageddon, as they were called at the time, the Skull Brotherhood, Archangel at the time,
Skull
Burke
Brotherhood, Jesus
Lawson,
Christ.
and
Oh, you had to work with Ray with the Burke?
yeah, basically I worked with his character Burke Lawson, and at the time when
When
he was
did
still
you
like with Brody Jones, the other character that was essentially
when
the
did you
Damien
wrestle
Priest.
Ray? When did you wrestle? You wrestled him PvP.
Well, this was an AI versus AI match, and it was
Okay.
like a fatal 4-way tag match for the Twin Star tag titles, which what consisted of the
Yeah.
Real Kingdom, the House of Armageddon, as they were known at the time, the
Yeah.
Warriors of Vengeance, the two guys from the Carpe Diem network named Jacob Baker and, as previously mentioned, Damian Shelley, and then me and
Okay.
Jacob. And me and Jacob won that match and essentially won the Twin Star titles.
Yeah. Let me say something real quick. I understand there's people listening that prefer PvP, and I understand people listening that do AI.
Yep.
I would like to bridge the gap, and I would like to reach the peace, and I would like to have everybody. I mean, PvP is not going to be the same thing, but we need to work within ourselves and be respectful to AI and PvP. And
Right.
because it's still a part of call, whether we like it or not, it's still call. You know what I'm saying? It's just that some people respect PvP more because PvP is actually earning it, and simulation is just really more scripted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I'm listening to what you're saying, um,
And
but
honestly, with Ray going back to highlight reel, I can certainly say all power to him.
yeah, me too. I told them the same thing. You know, not everybody's probably going to agree with it, but to me, I feel like Ray doing PvP and AI it just works. You know, for the show, it just works, and I like it, and I hope that he goes on to continue to promote his FAN and his MPW, because I like the MPW brand, but I like the FAN brand also when done right. And I'm a big fan of the soundtrack that he had. I told him about. I'm like, you got to keep that going, man. You know, and as an official contracted uh, personnel for MPW and someone of influence in MPW, because I ain't the boss, I definitely put my foot down to try to bring the best in MPW and bring that out. I'm not an MPW to manipulate it, to control it. I've said it time and time again. That's just what it is. There's no reason I need to do that. That is not my show. MPW has already been manipulated and scrutinized by enough people in the past. We don't need to continue doing that. We need to focus on the future, and the future is FAN and MPW. It's healthy. It's a good product. Ray does an excellent job with it. Great characters along with Devin. You need to keep doing that.
Right.
Don't know what happened with the stuff Devin had going on, but I would like to see that come back too. You know what I'm saying? It's not my business to necessarily ask, you know, that they cut the string on that, but I would really like to see that come back into play as a fan, because I think Devin is not just talented, but he's also creative. He's charismatic, talented, and creative. So him working with Ray, I'm definitely going to hit subscribe and thumbs up for MPW when I watch. You know what I mean? Outside of JTV, I feel like MPW is the next best show out there in CAW. FAM is all right. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, FAM, with all the respect to them, because they've been around, you know, I'm not shitting on them or nothing like that. But I never really, I never really seen anything in FAM that really interests me. Editing, fantastic, amazing. You know, great editing, great storytelling, great spots in the matches. But I never, like, FAM never really interests me. You know what I mean? MPW is just the one show that I felt was really like competition to me, in a sense, to JTV, that was like You know, if I was to retire, like I would want to work for FAM, if that makes sense. But let's stop around there. Let's get back to you. So anybody else that you work with, anybody that you work in MPW that was PvP, that in your mind you was like, damn, we had dope matches.
Outside of those two matches, that's really kind of where my first run with MPW ended. And
okay, I mean, you still fresh. You know what I'm saying? You still fresh into it. We still got time. We still got time. It's 2025. Ray's still booking. We're still doing stuff. I'm still working with MPW. So, you know, we'll look out for you for sure. I guarantee you that we'll look out for you in MPW. Quick question, because like I said, I got a million questions. So,
yeah.
And I don't even have a script. But okay, so you ever went back to FAM?
I've dabbled with the idea of basically like possibly reaching out to Bastion then to basically like make amends and all that stuff, but considering all the stuff that came out with like that whole controversy and all that,
Yeah.
I just think it would be in my best interest if like I just like supported them from the shadows, you know?
I don't know about support. I think you're being sweet. If it was me, it would have been an unsubscribe and unlike and moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're a sweetheart. You're sweet to still be a good sport about it after.
Yeah,
you know, you're kind of like
that's the thing with me. That's the thing that I will tell every single person watching this chat that will probably watch the replay of this back. I want to make this very clear.
Hold up. I got something to say after you finish. Go ahead.
When you are on my good side, I'm the coolest cat to be around. But basically, I'm kind of an omnivert. Basically, I'm an introvert and an extrovert, but I'm just going to say right now that if you start to basically get on my nerves and you start to piss me off, I won't yell, I won't fuss, I'll at that moment get quiet. But if you push the wrong buttons, you might lose your head. And you basically got two choices. Either get destroyed verbally, or if it's in a call aspect, I will do it physically. And I will tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'll do it. And I want to make this clear. That is not a threat. That is a promise.
Very nice. Very nice. I have to have conversation with Devin and Ray about the possibilities of MPW coming over and us having that TNA NXT relationship. You know, maybe you could come over, wrestle some of my guys. We could get some good, some good views, some good TV matches. But I want to make this well understood. I love the idea of you being an MPW guy. I have interest in MPW being successful. I am not trying to steal people from there, and I'm not trying to have MPW deteriorate or nothing like that. My best interest is going to be making sure that MPW remains good. You know what I'm saying? And that's out of respect for Devin and Ray. And that's some real shit. But I you know, that doesn't mean you can't come over and win a championship and do your shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'd love to come over to JTV. Let's be honest.
I believe you. But the thing is, you know, we talking about a lot of interesting things. The comment section is just going bananas with just everything we're talking about right now. But I want to highlight a quick comment that I liked, because I like this comment by Chris Conscience. But let me highlight this comment. Man.
Oh, what?
Man. Devin dropping a bomb, Mr. Executive. And of course, he has his on-screen character, his side character, and everything. You know, we go in and out on this show, but this man just said that DVW will return. That is epic news, because I'm down. I'm all for it. Me and Devin had conversations in which I said, you know, I like the idea of FAN and MPW. I think it should be done. Even if we're going to do MPW full time, I think the FAN stuff, not FAM, but the FAN thing should at least be an event.
Yeah, and by the way, to everyone that out there that basically says that FAN is basically a dollar store version of FAM, you guys are wrong. Bash has admitted, and Ray can double down and basically clarify this. Cameron Bash himself messaged Ray and said, FAN is Forever a Movement's twin.
Yeah, I think FAN works. I mean, they can hate all they want, you know what I'm saying? But FAN works. And that's coming from me. I don't want to say I'm an expert. Some people might say I am. I'm not saying I am, but just like Shendon doesn't say he's the GOAT, but you know, I would say that FAN for what it is, it just works.
Yep.
I didn't like the idea at first. I didn't like it when me and Ray was having issues, and I found out he was doing FAN. I was like, oh, you know, I didn't like it because I feel like it's ripping from. But Ray didn't go with FAM. He went with FAN. He was smart with Devin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's one letter off. If that was the deal, I'd buy it.
Exactly. It was smart the way they flipped that shit. You know what I mean? And then they got Chris Conscience over there. So they was smart everything they did. You know, and I think it works. From the box office hit Kevin Impact, I'm saying it works. You seem to demonstrate that you believe it works. And if you said Cameron Bash is down, that's a major endorsement. If Cameron Bash went as far as to say that the FAN is the twin of FAM. Do I agree with that? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I will go on record. I will sign you an autograph. I co-sign that is factual. I have not seen anyone else.
Slap a big old stamp on that one.
I have not seen anyone else in call that is a twin to FAN besides FAN. And that's just what it is. JTV is his own entity. You know what I mean? That's something else. Yep. But the FAN, man, Devin and Ray really knocked it out the park with that one. Y'all doing a good job.
Honestly, I'm not sure if somebody's going to send this to Bash, but I want him to know. Bash, you forever have our respect for saying that and basically debunking all the people saying that FAN MPW is essentially like basically trying to be like FAM, but you saying that MPW, FAN, whatever we call it, is FAM's twin, you will forever have our respect for that one.
And Cameron Bash from the box office hit and global phenomenon himself. If you want to bring your jabroni candy ass on this show and you got something to say, you're invited. Hit me up. Anyone worldwide is invited to come here and talk to me, say whatever they want to say, and feel free, okay?
You heard the man.
So, yeah, welcome yourself. Give me a moment. Hey, Nick, keep spitting your nursery rhymes, man. Whatever else you got.
Will do. But yeah, while Kevin's taking this time, I just want to basically tell you right now, Ray, I am definitely looking forward to seeing what we can do from this moment forward. I mean, I know a lot of things have changed, and I know we all like flip the script with a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I'm loyal to MPW, FAN, DVW, whatever the hell we do with the shows. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. Love you, brother. So, yeah, I'm just going to say right now, Devin, you better keep that door open for DVW because KIKEN might be coming. And he's coming and he's ready to set DVW ablaze with purple flames. Jesus Christ, I just rhymed there.
All right, very good, very good. Okay. So you've been in you did your shit in MPW for a little bit, you know. You haven't gone back to FAM, and I wouldn't recommend you do. I'm not trashing
considering it's dead and they're doing this whole FAM Productions nonsense, which basically is kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of thing. Like, all respect to those guys.
I got my own Kevin Impact statement for FAM. FAM, if you're listening to this, which I don't expect you to, because, you know, like Nathan Vash once said, I'm a nobody, and JTV ain't nobody, but he mentioned us. You know, and I've heard from the grapevine, and it could not be true, but, you know, FAM mentioned us. if any executive gets this message back from Kevin Impact to FAM, I want y'all to know something. Let me make something very clear to y'all. I don't know if y'all got an issue with me and JTV or whatnot, but we don't have any issue with you. We recognize you guys as a leader in CAW. You guys have been involved with 2K. You guys have done major things and whatnot. We respect that. We acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? We know our place, but at the same time, you got to give us respect. We've been around for a long time doing it. You know what I mean? We're not toxic. We're doing it for all the right reasons. We're saying all the right things, even though you might disagree with certain things. And something that's really messing with my head right now is I'm having a deja vu moment, and I don't like that. I don't like when I have deja vu moments, but that's besides the point. We're almost into the third hour of this podcast. We're getting ready to close things out in a little bit, but there is no ill will towards FAM. You know, despite the fact that you guys want to go into a soap opera era or whatever the hell y'all doing, there is no ill will. Based off of what Nick KIKEN told me today, not the biggest fan of the way he was treated, but in terms of what y'all have going on, more power to you. Kevin Impact ain't hating on you. JTV ain't hating on you. I've heard from the grapevines y'all had some interesting things to say about us. I don't know if that's true. But if y'all have had issues with us or anybody had issues with us, I mean, you got to check that at the door. You know what I'm saying? Because we're doing this shit for the culture. JTV is for the culture. JTV is not some toxic E-Fed that's out here crying, bitching and all this stuff. We're doing this for the right reasons, okay? So that inbox is open. You know what I mean? That inbox is open. And from my understanding, me and FAM have, not FAM, but me and COH have done stuff in the past. And I don't have anything towards Travis. You know what I'm saying? I think Travis works with, some people that want to be on some pedophile shit and whatnot. That's his business. Travis probably doesn't know about that. That's the thing. And why would they want to get that out there? Why would they? But at the same time, Travis is who he is. I've talked to Travis. I hope Travis is not going to act like we've never talked. We've talked. We've done business in the past as well. Travis knows. He probably doesn't remember, but he probably might remember in 2014 when he aired some JTV stuff on his show, and we talked. You know what I mean?
Ray makes a very good point. There's actually two COHs.
I didn't know that. That's news to me. I did not know that.
Yeah, Code of Honor and Call of Honor. I know of Code of Honor.
I have never heard of Code of Honor. Who runs Code of Honor?
Code Lions and Ryan Swift.
All respects to them. I don't know who they are. Never heard of them. I know Call of Honor. I know Travis Sparks. That is who I've talked to and done business with in the past. I recognize him and some of his cronies. But what you got? Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Ray was basically saying I was talking about Code of Honor. That's like where SVR Sugar Kayla, Sean Nova, Red Bane, who used to be the former Suicide in FAM. That's where those guys are now.
Okay. When did they come into existence?
They came in when FAM was still a thing, but COH after FAM died, COH basically took them in and basically gave them a platform to continue doing what they're doing. And
really?
And Code of Honor, they've been around since, if I recall correctly, 2013.
What? There's no way. There's no. I mean, no. That might be. I've never heard of Code of Honor. I've heard of Call of Honor. Yeah. I've heard of them for the longest time. Like I said, we've done business in the past. I don't know.
Just made a very good point. They're on Twitch.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, when it comes to Call and it comes to shows, if you're not doing everything, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy No Kills. If you're not on Rumble, if you're not on Twitch, if you're not on YouTube, you got to be on everything. Doing your thing. Granted, because I don't want to be a hypocrite, we're not on Rumble yet, but we're talking about the possibilities of that for the future. You know what I mean? My boy No Kills.
He's going to send you a link to their YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm just going to say it right now. You really need to check out their recent pay-per-view Carnage at the Capitol. Absolutely,
you could do that.
Everyone that was in that show, you all did absolutely excellent, and I'm going to say that From the bottom of
They're
my
that
heart,
good.
you all did absolutely excellent for
They're
that
that
show.
good. They're that good.
Yep.
I mean, if they've been around since 2014, I'm gonna give them respect. That's just real shit. That's longevity. There's call shows that last 2-3 years, and they tend to be toxic. E-feds, you know, and we're not doing that. So,
I don't
some of
think I
y'all
even
don't.
want to talk about Forever Movement's Star Teen Unite rebrand. That thing didn't even last, God, even a year.
Well, I believe you because I never heard about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
a
know.
lot of toxicity and drama came out of that one, and quite
Yeah,
honestly, I
we
think we
don't
can
need
all
that.
be glad that it died.
We don't need that in call. We need promotions that are going to make an impact, are going to do their thing, and they're trying to rise up.
Damn right.
I'm gonna give respect to FAM because FAM has been linked to 2K. Great, that's amazing. I'm not trying to have JTV necessarily work with 2K. I'm not against it. If 2K want to sponsor us and shit like that, great. If 2K was smart, which a lot of the time they're not, they would be interested in sponsoring to JTV and working with us. But I mean, we still got to get out there. We're working into our 600 subscribers. We're doing pretty good. You know, we're trying to rise up. We're trying to do our thing. But the one thing that makes us better than everybody else is nobody's like us. That's
Yep.
the one thing that stands out more than anybody else. You know what I mean? And we just keep doing our thing, but we do it for the culture. That's what makes us different. We're not doing this for fame and popularity and money and notoriety. We've been successful because we've been ourselves. I'm myself. Chris Conscious is himself. Corey Flash, No Kills, Shendon, you know, BKS, you know, Direct Deposit. Everybody that's in JTV, all the women, we all been ourselves. That's why we stand out. Everybody else is just trying to be a copy of. You know what I'm saying? And with all the respect in the world to Rom and everybody from FAM and everybody that you know and stuff like that, but a lot of these kids, they usually just copy Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels and Seth Rollins, and we don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at you, Roblox Wrestling.
Shots fired. You going to hell. I'll tell you that right now, Nick. And I'm going with you for allowing you to come on here. But yeah, you know, we need to stop doing that. I don't know nothing about no Roblox wrestling, but
I'm glad you
I hear
don't,
you.
because I'm going to say this right now. If there is one person that did any sort of like WWE like character and did it right, hands down, Nick Virtue.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Virtue was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? He ripped off of Shawn Michaels for a little bit. Nick Virtue to me was a known name. Uh, don't feel bad about what I'm saying, but I don't think too much about Nick Virtue. You know what I mean? I don't think too much about what they had going on. I give them respect, but I mean, the copy and paste thing just does not work for me. I would really much more invite you, Mr. Nick KIKEN. I would invite you to look at people like Johnny Franchise and JTV, people like Shendon, Dallas Goldman, Tommy Hawkins, No Kills, Corey Flash, Matt Dagger, Amber Rocks. You know what I'm saying? These are the characters that I invite you to review and try to put that versus some of the stuff you've seen. Because with FAM and some of these other shows, it's like it really just is copying WWE or copying someone, and it's just the only real good thing that they have is good editing and good spots, good
Yeah, and
matches.
I will say this right now. Luke Monet of FAM said this back in 2015. Don't be the norm. Be unique. And I don't care how many times I have to repeat that. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I don't care. Don't be the norm. Be unique.
Say that one more time. Who?
Luke Monet.
You see, I don't know who that is. You know what I'm saying?
He was in FAM for a long time. He was part of Stigma's little skilled
My
foundation,
ear,
stable.
my
No,
ears open, and I hear you.
the
And of
switchblade
course,
side. I'm thinking.
they're
My
gonna
bad.
say the same thing about me. They're like, who the fuck is Kevin Impact? We don't know who you are. They're gonna say the same thing about me, but maybe we both have our homework to do. I
Yep.
don't know who that is. If I don't know who that is, that ain't nobody to me. All the
I'll
respect.
send you. I'll send you the YouTube link if I can find it of the video where he basically like talked about like how
Definitely.
to make a call and all that.
Definitely. And I will be interested in tuning into that and give you respect. Say his name one more time.
Luke Monet.
Okay, Luke Monet. Okay. All right. I'll check your stuff out and see what you got to offer. But I know Nick Virtual. You know what I'm saying? I know Cameron Bash. I know a few people that their name's been out there. I don't know Luke Monet like that. You know, I got some work to do to get my name out there. He got some work to do. But we keeping it real on this channel. That's all it is. No disrespect to Luke Monet or anybody. We just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's people that are known and there's people that are not known. You know what I mean? So we have to go step by step. But let's try to back up real quick. So you didn't go to FAN. You didn't go back to FM, which I'm glad you didn't. You did a few things in MPW. A few people had different questions going on in the comment section. I'm gonna go off my head now. So let's talk about JTV, man.
Alrighty.
Obviously, you mentioned how you have interest in wrestling for us, but have you seen anything that caught your eye? Any match, any character? You know what I mean? Has anything caught your eye? Any event or anything?
I would say the stuff that BKS is doing definitely caught my eye, but if there's any particular character that I can definitely say they are doing their absolute best with in JTV, it's Colin Klein.
Holy shit. And why Colin Klein? What about him?
I mean, I've been in Discord calls with Colin. I mean, he's just a nice dude. I mean, sure, he's going through some stuff in his personal life, but at the end of the day, I mean, he came over on the recent episode of the MPW Genesis, and I saw him work that match, and quite honestly, I liked what I saw. I really did.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it that Colin Klein caught your attention? What is it about him?
Probably because, like, he just seems to have this formula of basically, like, he knows what he needs to do in order to not only tell a good story, but also have a good match. And that's what I respect about a lot of people in MPW and also with a lot of people in JTV.
Okay, well, he's great. Colin Klein is, in my opinion, very talented. He can talk when he wants to. He can move, and he's a great individual. I mean, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own issues in their personal life, what they're dealing with. But he's great.
I'm one of
He's a
them.
good friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine, by the way. But that's besides the point. I think Colin Klein is a great highlight to focus on. And I think he's a good representative of JTV. He's great. He's really, really good. So I give him a lot of props. He's excellent. And I'm glad you said that.
If I was not going to say Colin, I definitely can say I've seen some of the stuff that with BKS, and I can certainly say John Skinner and Shendon both caught my eye.
Why?
Just the way that they just had this sort of, I don't know. It's just like they're doing a lot of stuff with BKS that, quite honestly, no near call faction has the balls to do, and I just love that.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to take over the entire CAW. They went off to MPW and everything. Ray's doing business with them. And, you know, I've been doing business with them for a little bit, and they're just making all this noise from left to right. I mean, I give them props. At the end of the day, you know, Shannon is one of the top guys in CAW, and so is John Skinner.
They decide to whisper in my ear, I may end up actually taking them up on that offer.
Holy shit. You better chill out. I feel like we're saying too much on here. You know, but I think it could work out. You know, I'm fixing to close this show out in about 2 minutes though. So I'm all ears. Whatever else we got going on, if we got any comments, I'm happy to take any
Yeah, you know
comments.
what? You know what? I've said that as much as we can. Let's get some of the questions in the comments here going.
Well, I mean, we're gonna keep chopping it up for a little bit while people post their comments. But
I mean,
you
I've
know,
already seen a good majority of them already, but let me see here.
yeah,
Let me see a good one here.
and so have I. Maybe I could scroll up a little bit. But we've talked about a lot of stuff, and I'm just about ready to close this out at the 3 hour mark. And let me see if I find anything interesting. But I know Shendon and a couple of them was definitely asking some questions, and they wanted to know about some of your thoughts about JTV and stuff like that. You did mention that Colin Klein is one of the point of interest, along with Shandon and John Skinner and BKS.
Yeah, honestly, overall, I think JTV is they're just absolutely amazing. I mean, you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. And quite honestly, I basically have made it clear that I want to basically kind of hop across that barricade, break down that forbidden door, and basically stand in a JTV arena and show you all what I can do.
Ain't no forbidden door, brother. MPW and JTV is home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're together. That's just what it is. That's how it should be. We're willing to
oh yeah,
make
don't worry. VIP is also on that list too. He's doing good. I just haven't seen much of him, but yeah, he's a good dude too.
I got a few things to say about that dude, but I'll reserve my comment for time constraint. But yeah, like it all sounds great, but I mean, home is what you make it. Kind of like that, that movie with Adam Sandler. Home is pretty much what you make it. You know what I mean? So basically, yeah, it is true. You know what I mean? Home could be CAW, but we can't get to that point yet because there's a lot of toxic e-feds and shows that just they can't do that. You know, there's always got to be
Mark's
favoritism.
really starting to get into my love for anime because I love the series Ruby, which essentially is how Ruby KIKEN and Yang KIKEN, two of my COG kids, got their names.
Okay, hit us with a little bit of that before we wrap up. What do you got?
Okay, so I definitely could say my favorite episode probably is the final episode of Volume 9, when Ruby finds herself and then the team makes their way back to Remnant. That whole, like, dynamic. And honestly, all love in the world to Rooster Teeth and the people over there that worked on the show. Love them, love the voice actors and their work. I can definitely say that maybe the next Indianapolis Comic Con, if any of the actors from Team Ruby show up, I certainly can say I probably will go up there and basically probably talk their ears off, honestly. But basically, that episode of Ruby, definitely by far, outside of like the ending of Volume 3 where Ruby activated her silver eyes for the first time, that was easily the biggest shift in the series. Like, that showed that there was something about Ruby Rose in the show that Ozpin, the professor character in this show that basically brought Ruby into Beacon, he knew something about Ruby that none of us knew at that time until Volume 3 with her silver eyes. And quite honestly, after seeing Ruby's entire character evolution through volume to volume after the fall of Beacon, like, basically she like went off on everyone, and then as much as I want to say that they basically kind of swept that whole thing under the rug with Ruby finding herself, I can say that Ruby basically made it clear. And this is something that I can say at the bottom of my heart, I want to make very clear. Do not choose to be something you're not. Choose to be yourself and leave your burdens behind instead of choosing something that is enough to bear them. Hook, line, sinker.
All right, duly noted. All right, we're finna go ahead and wrap up this show. It's been excellent. I want to go ahead and thank my guest, Nick KIKEN, for being on today.
Yeah.
For everybody else that enjoyed.
Absolutely was a blast to be here. And also,
yes,
I want to send this message to the entirety of JTV. You never know who could come hopping over that barricade and stepping into a JTV ring. I'll see y'all soon.
Oh, of course, for sure, for sure. You know, the Forbidden Door, I mean, that exists in AEW, but it don't exist in JTV. We invite anybody over that fence. But with that being said, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. Definitely subscribe, smash that like button, share with your friends. This has been an iconic episode. I've had a lot of fun doing it, and looking forward to the next one, and looking forward to having Nick KIKEN back on the show for sure.
Yeah. And to close it out, I will say to everyone that without further ado, we bid you all goodbye and good night.
Indeed. And with that being said, Kevin Impact is leaving the city along with Nick KIKEN. We're probably going to get a Cuban sandwich and an alcoholic beverage of some kind. I mean, he says he's straight edge, I think. So I'll probably give him some kind of a mango juice or something. But nonetheless, we want to thank y'all for tuning in. Much love to all. Yeah, you know, it works. You know, you get that man a sun kiss and shit. But we want to thank y'all. Much love from the bottom of my heart. I'm excited to bring Nick KIKEN back on the show for some more. And thank y'all for watching and tuning into episode 8 of City of Impact. Thumbs up. Catch you on the next one and top that if you can.